I'm Sean Fennessey.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is the Big Picture Conversation Show about No Other Choice and the Golden Globes. Today on the show, we'll dig into some Golden Globe predictions. We'll raise some serious questions about the award season as we are on the precipice of some dramatic news, or not. We'll also talk about No Other Choice, which is the new film from Park Chan-wook, the South Korean writer-director who is a flat-out genius. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. He is a guest on this show. Very excited to chat with him again. The film is getting a wide release finally in January, so more people will be able to see it. We talked a lot about how he made this film and how he goes about making films. I mentioned on our year-end episode that he's extraordinarily detailed in how he explains the choices that he made. So if you like the movie, you'll want to stick around for that conversation right after this. Okay, Amanda.
Yeah.
I was working on the Golden Globe predictions last night. And I was getting a little bored.
Sure.
And it was a sign that maybe I'm getting a little bored with award season.
That's not good, Sean, because the Oscars are on March 15th.
Something is happening right now that is interesting. For the third year in a row, the Best Picture race has been kind of done and dusted for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer in 2023, Anora last year.
Though we assumed, and I guess we were trying to make it interesting, but I think our attitude was like, is it really going to be Anora? Really?
Really? That was our attitude.
That would be cool.
You're right.
Are we are you guys sure? I would like it.
But there was no other really legible potential winner out of the bunch. And so when it happened, there was very little surprise. And then, of course, this year, one battle after another has been steamrolling the competition. So as I mentioned earlier this week, I was like, maybe we don't know everything we think we do. Maybe this is overconfidence peeking its head up. And I want to hear some thoughts from you about potential surprises, how we could be off.
Yeah. I do also think that this is you, Sean Fennessey, trying to wrestle with having the movie you love be the clear winner. And you don't know what to do with those emotions, right? And you don't know what to do with positivity and the right outcome or like an outcome that you enjoy at the Oscars. And so you're looking for anxiety. You're looking for outlets to talk to be in, despair or uncertainty, which you're more comfortable in.
Maybe so. I don't. It might also just be building a wall around that feeling. And also I think there's clearly like an acknowledgement of age, of like you reach a certain point in your life and your taste, which you once thought was interesting and transgressive, is now middle-brow mainstream Academy Awards fare.
Right.
That's fascinating that that's happening to me, but it might be happening to me. I loved Oppenheimer. I loved Anora. All of a sudden, I think this really started around Parasite, where I was like, whoa, no, that's not true. It started at Moonlight. When Moonlight happened, I was like, what the hell? And then what actually happened is I was in my mid-30s. And when you start to get into this certain place in your life and your taste sort of aligns generationally with a lot of people that are in the same vein as you. So there may be something to that. There may be some protectionary instincts kicking in here. But I also think that there are some surprises. So we're recording this on the precipice of all of the Guild news, essentially. You and I are both headed to New York this week for a fun trip. And so we're recording early. So we don't know the Screen Actors Guild nominations. We don't know the Directors Guild nominations. We don't know the Producers Guild nominations, cinematography nominations.
Right.
This weekend, we'll see the BAFTAs long list. We'll talk about the results of all of these things with CR next week on the show, which will be interesting. But we don't know how any of that stuff's going to shake out. So this is kind of the last moment where the only thing that we have to go on is critics' bodies, Golden Globe nominations. No one who really makes movies has voted on anything yet. So let me start with this question.
Yes.
Last year, Fernanda Torres came on fairly late to get a Best Actress nomination for I'm Still Here. We've talked a lot about the Brazilian voting bloc, the strength of that nation. But if you had checked in say, September of the awards race in 2024, you would have thought Angelina Jolie, Saoirse Ronan. If you had checked in December, you might have thought Pamela Anderson, maybe Marianne Jean-Baptiste after the awards praise or the critics' praise that she got. None of those people were nominated for Best Actress. Fernanda Torres was. So is there a sleeper acting nominee right now? Someone who we don't really see coming?
Well, we've tried to, protect ourselves against that by identifying that Wagner Moura is in fact the Fernando Torres of this year to an extent that we see it coming.
But he's in though. We already think he's in.
He's in.
So there's nothing sleepy about Wagner. He's in.
Right. But I take issue with the premise of your question a little bit, which is that we pick our nominees in a way that so we aren't surprised.
Okay.
So, so I guess maybe Inga Ibstadter-Lilius, but like we see her coming too.
I think she's in. This is what I'm saying. Like, who is a person that we don't really? I'll give you an example of. I don't think that I think this.
Yeah.
But I want to talk it out.
Okay.
Emily Blunt.
Right.
In The Smashing Machine, who was not well reviewed.
No.
I did not like her performance. It's the one thing in the movie that I really did not care for. But she is very admired.
Mm-hmm.
She's an expert campaigner. She's one of the stars of the big movies of the summer, Disclosure Day. She's nominated for a Golden Globe.
Excuse me. And also The Devil Wears Prada too.
Yes. Well, she's the third lead, I guess, in that movie. But
memorable.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to pump up? If she had not gotten as famous, would they have made her as big of a... I guess it's an impossible question to answer because that's the movie that got her famous.
Yeah, that's the breakout role.
Yeah.
And I do think that my understanding of the plot is that she plays a major... I mean, she should, but like they've acknowledged that Emily has come up in the world.
Okay. I'm not saying Emily Blunt's going to be nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but it's the kind of thing where a couple of names fall away.
She's been on the maybe since the very beginning.
Yeah, but we've written her off. We're like, oh, it's Amy Madigan's time now, Tiana Taylor. There's some front runners in that category. So Elle Fanning has kind of fallen away a little bit.
Let's name it. So it's Amy Madigan, I think, yes. Tiana Taylor, yes. Inga Ibstadter-Lilius, yes. We've got 2 spots. I think Emily Blunt is like very possible.
It's interesting. Obviously, part of the Fernando Torres fascination was just very few people were familiar with her work. And so she came on quickly. I don't know if there's another international performer who we don't know as well. Someone from No Other Choice that I was thinking about when I was going through that movie. And I was like, that would have been a really cool campaign to have had Sun Yi-jin, who plays Lee Byung-hung's wife in the movie. That would have been like a great campaign to see happen. And we've seen it happen a couple times in the past. We saw the grandmother from Minari, for example, come through with like a kind of a surprise campaign in a year where there was an opening. But I don't know if I see one in either of the supporting categories from either.
Tani Maria?
I know you're pitching that. You're pitching that from The Secret Agent.
Be fun,
yeah, that would be interesting.
I think that's probably a little too niche. You never know.
So nothing else. Nothing else jumps out at you.
I think Ethan Hawke is someone that we thought like this could break, this could break either way, but the critics have really boosted him and a press tour for the ages. So now it seems like that is definitely going to happen. And that's one where George Clooney, we would have said I think we probably did say in August and September was a lock. I think that's out. Ethan Hawke's in.
That's one though where if he got left out, I wouldn't be shocked.
You're right.
Those movies are smaller. There's some like which Linklater movie am I supposed to watch for the kind of casual Academy voter?
And which Linklater movie am I responding to? It's very interesting how many people are like, oh, but did you see all the black and white and Nouvelle Vague? Which
totally.
It's true. It
feels like a very 50-50, which is my favorite divide between the two of them. Yeah, that's an interesting one where like if you told me today that he won, I wouldn't be shocked. If he just like charmed the pants off people for 2 months and worked so hard and Chalamet alienated people and Leo, was kind of a little bit more in the background.
On the yacht.
Yeah. That wouldn't shock me, but it also wouldn't shock me if a smaller dramedy about, an old gay man in a bar in 1940s America, like that wouldn't shock me either.
Right.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Best actor race is really fascinating because like 6 months ago, it was Jeremy Allen White and The Rock and George Clooney, as you said, and all these people have all fallen away.
What about Felicity Jones in Train Dreams? Could you see that?
Interesting.
Possibly?
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's Academy loved. Very good in that film. So Train Dreams, Best Picture, yes.
Think so.
Adapted Screenplay nominee.
Yeah.
It's not going to win, but
Nope.
that's okay. what else is for sure?
Cinematography, I think.
Cinematography, of course. So that's not like a ton.
Score maybe?
Okay. So that's awareness across above and below. But it doesn't seem like, I think that Joel Edgerton would also need a nomination to carry like her through as the supporting. And I don't really think that that's happening.
I don't think it is either, although we saw he was nominated at the Critics' Choice Awards earlier this week. He was cited several times by Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, and an interesting reaction shot face.
Yes.
Listen, it seemed like they were just in an airplane hangar with like cheese and crackers. So like who can say what's going on? I'm not one to judge. I wouldn't be happy either.
It's a really interesting thing, though, which films get acting nominations and which don't. Which Best Picture contenders are like, well, this is clearly an acting film, so we're going to, shower it with praise.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's an interesting version of that, where we talked after the Critics' Choice Awards about whether Jacob Elordi has a real chance to win there, but then there's really no discussion of Oscar Isaac or Christoph Waltz or Mia Goth or any of the other performers in the movie beyond him. So I don't know. I feel like there's always one surprise. One thing. Sometimes it's a more lower level thing. Sometimes it's an editing category surprise or a best original song surprise. It's been an acting one a lot in the past. And so I'm trying to put my finger on it and I haven't quite landed on it. Okay. So I mentioned for the third straight year, it feels like Best Picture is kind of sort of settled. You could say the Everything Everywhere All at Once year was kind of sort of settled. This has been happening. Coda was the last real surprise.
And Everything Everywhere All at Once was just how many awards, like other Oscars, can it pick up along the way?
Correct. And it became ultimately a very big juggernaut and won several acting awards, which is, in retrospect, so strange. I like that movie, but it's so strange. Is this a bad thing?
Well, I think Oscar season is too long. I think that we should not be having to stretch this out until March 15th. I don't think it's good for the award season, and I don't think it's good for the rest of the movies. I think, we're now experiencing the 2-month hole in January and February of anything like serious. And that's not totally fair because like a lot of the international films and smaller films will be rolled out, which is, I guess, is like a proven release plan. I
think it's good for No Other Choice, which is kind of on the fringes of the Oscar race, but it's not like Serrat is going to make $25 million at the box office. You're right that it gives a window to start releasing some of these movies, but none of these movies are going to play on 3,000 screens.
Right.
I find this year to be particularly strange. Last year it started, the Oscars were the first week of March. And that was great, I thought.
And they had been moving them back a bit.
Yes. And so now we're back to March 15th. If the show happened on February 15th, what is lost? I'm not sure I understand. I know that there's maybe more money in the gears for FYC to kind of keep building and building anticipation, but I don't know. It's feeling like we're going to get too far away from the year in some ways.
I agree.
And we're going to be 6 full months out from the One Battle release. And it's like, what will the celebration of that movie even look like in the same way? This is kind of mild nitpicking about the process, but I think when you sense that these movies get this level of momentum where they can't be stopped. And in the case of Everything Everywhere All at Once, it came out the previous March. So you had 1 year of ceaseless domination. It's just boring. It's even boring for the awards watchers.
Yeah.
And so if this were sports, the competition committees would come along and they would say, like, what rules do we need to change? How do we mix this up to make this more interesting? The NFL does this. The NBA does this.
I know. All of the NFL's rules are absolutely maddening. So.
And sometimes they get it wrong. Like the NBA's end of game review process right now is a fiasco. It's a nightmare. It ruins the experience of watching games, watching fourth quarters of basketball games. But they will at least consider it. The Academy is obviously considering a lot of changes. They're going to YouTube. They're adding a category this year. They're adding another category 2 years from now. Some things are underway. I don't know if this is a solvable issue, but it's something that I have been thinking about as someone who spends a lot of time thinking about this stuff.
I think that, I just think they should move it up. I also think the Emmys should move to late January, and we just have award season. We bracket it all, awards show season. We bracket it all together. We schedule around the Super Bowl.
Country Music Awards as well.
When are those? I don't know. Every
August?
once in a while, there's like it's like the Billboard Awards. And you're just like, oh, okay. Like who showed up to the airplane hangar tonight?
Should The Ringer do an award show? I'm serious.
You and I do an award show, alternative.
Sort of. I'll be wearing like a black sweater and,
would it be sports and pop culture?
I think so, yeah.
Would you be the host?
Well, I didn't say that. Hopefully we would hire a professional to do that.
I don't know. You've always wanted to be a game show
That's
host.
true.
It's close enough.
Not quite the same.
Would we reveal the vote tallies?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 1,000%.
But who is the voting body?
Right, and then no one shows up. Me.
Well, then no one would show up. Yeah, we should do that. I'm sure people would. There would be no controversy around that.
They need to move it up. And the reason I feel that the late February, March is old and is predicated on like the December 31st eligibility, whatever you can say it, window. And the fact that for a long time, and still the smaller films all rush in the last 2 weeks before December. Right. And so you needed to give air for all of the films to be released. But as you identified, One Battle was September, Everything Everywhere was March, Oppenheimer was July. So now that the release schedule has changed and we're living with a lot of these movies for a lot longer, you don't have to give the room on the other side.
Yeah. I think this isn't something that's going to solve whatever the issue is with award shows in particular, but it is an interesting thing where the elongation, I think, has diminished some interest. Do you think there's a fake out happening at the precursors right now? Someone who's been winning awards or who's been showing up. You mentioned that the Kathleen Chalfant win for National Society of Film Critics was a very critics style pick, shining a light on an underseen film, even a film that even a lot of pundits really haven't spent any time with. And so that's what the critical bodies can do. That's not really a fake out. A fake out is like Rose Byrne wins 9 critical awards and then is in 5th place in the Best Actress race because people have a hard time finishing that movie. You know what I mean?
Extremely rude. And also, I'm citing please finish that film. The ending is wonderful.
It's an imaginary example of something that can happen.
I don't think that that's a fake out, though. That is, I think, some not even false confidence. I don't think that she's going to win. I think you're probably right that it will be Jessie Buckley, but I do think she'll be nominated. And we're going to do Golden Globes predictions later on. I think we may see her on Sunday night.
Well, that'll be interesting
because of the category split. Yeah. And so then maybe that's like a different fake out. Maybe that's a Demi Moore. Look, maybe it actually can happen after the Golden Globe speech. True fake outs. I mean, I do think Jacob Elordi will be nominated. I don't think that he's going to win with respect to the Critics' Choice Awards. I think it's always a good idea to have Jacob Elordi at your awards show.
Elordi being the first Euphoria cast member to win an Academy Award would be interesting. How many Euphoria cast members will win Academy Awards in their careers?
Zendaya, Elordi, Hunter Schafer. Do you think it's going to happen for Sydney? You think that that's her trajectory?
I don't, but the Housemaid sequel was just greenlit, so you never know. Could be 2027. No, I mean, you've got Maud Apatow.
Who's going to be in the sequel?
That's a really good question. I mean, the Avenging Housemaids, it's going to be like an Avenger style thing where they all team up.
Oh, there's a new one? No, she goes to a new house. But so, who's the new house?
Good question. Catherine Hahn?
Oh, that'd be great. That would be really good. Right? Yeah. Though, Catherine Hahn, I don't know whether she needs help, but I guess she could.
Oh, she could do it herself.
Yeah. But I guess the setup is that she is.
Yeah, it's Catherine Hahn and David Harbour.
Do you watch Stranger Things?
No.
Me, I mean,
no.
I
did watch the first 2 seasons. Yeah. And I began the 3rd season and I said, no, thanks.
I watched a few episodes. I've just been checking in with people, just like a thumbs up, thumbs down.
It's actually quite nice for there to be a big cultural event happening that I have no part of. Yes. I feel kind of a sense of relief. And I've never once heard someone discussing the show and thought, I really should catch up with that. No shots to anybody who made it. It just doesn't interest me at all.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who. I mean, Maud Apatow has a movie that she directed coming out in May, Poetic License, which played at TIFF, which people seem to really like. I haven't seen that yet. So she strikes me as someone who could legitimately win an Academy Award because she's an actor. Yeah. She's going to be a writer-director. Who else is in that cast? Who are the other cast members?
We've gone past my knowledge of Euphoria.
Okay. Euphoria, great show. Honestly, I love it. It's insane. It doesn't seem like it's made under the safest circumstances. I quite enjoy it. I don't know if there's another big fake out. Is Timmy a fake out? Has this been Leo's Oscar all along? Is the thing?
Well, no. I mean, right now what I'm operating under is Timmy and Leo cancel each other out, and it's Wagner Moura.
You
Because you got to think about
genuinely
vote
think
split.
that's going to happen?
I right now, that's what I'm thinking about. You got to think about the international voter base, and you got to think about where the votes are going. And Timmy's trying to dial it down now, and like be a sweet guy, and thank his foundation, which is a person and not an actual foundation, as Amanda Seyfried commented on Instagram, which is why she is #1 forever. She was like, "Oh, he means like her a person." I was confused.
Who's his foundation?
Kylie Jenner.
Yeah. Like the foundation. She's my foundation as a human being.
Yes,
right,
that's what he said.
Right, not his charity.
Right. Anyway, so Timmy's dialing it down.
Amanda Seyfried said this on Instagram. She just went live on Instagram.
No, she just commented. She just commented, "Oh, he means like a person." I was confused.
Commented where?
Like in the Instagram comments, I think on someone aggregating it.
Why is she doing that?
Get online. I don't know, because people have fun. Women in their 40s, it's what we do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Women in our 40s, we have fun.
Jennifer
That's what we do.
She gets in fights on TikTok.
Jennifer Lawrence is like 32.
Well, I know. That's why I said Instagram was for women in their 40s.
Yeah.
Named
Seyfried
Amanda.
cooking right now.
Amazing stuff.
Testament of Ann Lee. I talked to Mona Fastfold on the show yesterday. Genius. Awesome conversation. And yeah, what she talked about what Amanda Seyfried did for like 14 months making that movie is astonishing. Yeah. Well, also, I guess, checking Instagram and commenting on Timothée Chalamet's speeches. Love her.
So that was on Sunday.
Okay.
Anyway, Timmy's dialing it down.
Okay.
Leo is literally like vlogging from Jeff Bezos' yacht, So
it's not literally vlogging. This is being recorded. You can't just say shit like that. He's not vlogging.
He said a video acceptance speech.
Well, okay. All right.
There's an H.G. Wells book in the background of that.
Is that true?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Which book?
I think
Machine?
it just said H.G. Wells. I zoomed
like
in.
Like a biography of H.G. Wells? That's truly dystopian.
I don't know.
To be on that yacht and reading H.G. Wells.
I mean, listen, it hasn't been confirmed to me that was the yacht's library, but it sure looked like the yacht of a library, the library of a yacht owned by a man who ruined the book industry. So
H.G. Wells power rankings, go. Top 10 novels.
I have not read any H.G. Wells
War of the
novels.
Worlds.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. So
Time Machine.
So
Dr. Moreau.
Listen.
That's 3.
Okay.
I can think of some more.
That's good. Can't name 6 Jane Austen novels, but can't name Pride and Prejudice, but that's
H.G. Wells is a man.
So, and they're both working with it, but I do think that they attract a similar kind of voter. But are you a Leo or are you a
women in their 40s?
And then, anyway, I right now I'm not picking Timmy to win. So if you consider that a fake out, then yes.
It is the coolest race to me because you've got a ton of really worthy contenders. We haven't even talked about MBJ. You've got MBJ, Wagner Moura, Timothée Chalamet, Ethan Hawke, and Leo is a sick category. Yeah. That's an awesome and incredibly deserving group. It's possible other people get in that we're not thinking of, but that feels like the 5 to me. And if that's the case, it'll be a fun one to talk about. Okay, number 2. What movie will you be sick of discussing by March 15th? Because we do have 2 more months of this.
I mean, Frankenstein?
Yeah. Will we even discuss it that much, I guess?
Well, I mean, I do think that it's going to get a raft of nominations, right? Like, I don't think Jacob Elordi is going to win, but the support for Frankenstein is not fake.
Probably going to be around 8, I would guess. Yeah.
And I thought all of the production design and the creature design was like,
it was good.
Spectacular.
It is good.
But I mean, like, how many times you can say, like, what they like, he looked like a tall monster, He looks like he belongs actually in a Spider-Man movie, but I thought that was kind of ingenious that they just kind of dispensed with our expectations of what that monster was going to look like entirely. No, I thought it was very cool. I like all of it, but like, I don't know if I have 2.5 months of, they really did that.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the movie that I like the least that is competing heavily. Although I don't really know what the Academy thinks of Wicked for Good. I don't know what any of these bodies think. That's something that I think will be revealed to us over the next 4 or 5 days is that movie more in because it's so Hollywood, because it's the conclusion of a big stage show, because John M. Chu is a real ambassador for Hollywood and he's got a lot of supporters. I don't know. I could see a world where like the worm turns on that, and everybody like us who thought they were so smart because they realized that this movie stinks. Like sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes a lot of movies that we think are legitimately bad movies get nominated for Best Picture.
It's true.
You know, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, or Incredibly Close and whatever the
Right.
Extremely Close and
Yes.
Incredibly Loud. What's the name of that movie?
Well, I was about to say Up Close and Personal,
The
which is
Magician's Nephew. Yeah. I mean, those movies like that get through all the time.
Yeah. The
The Artist won like 5 Oscars. You know?
That's true.
Not
Do you
that
think
it's not
Nouvelle
bad,
Vague
but-
is going to get in?
Well, that would be a cool surprise.
Yeah.
That would be a cool. Did it make the international shortlist? It didn't, right? For France, wasn't it submitted as the French film for the international shortlist?
Maybe.
I don't remember how that shook out. Am I losing my mind?
No,
right now?
but it was just an accident. Is the
Oh, you're right.
French
You're right.
pick,
Excuse
so-
me. Yes, they tried to submit Nouvelle Vague, but France chose. It was just an accident.
Exactly.
Thank you. Okay, so here's the last one.
Yeah.
What movie should we do another episode about
Okay.
to celebrate ahead of the ceremony, or to dig deeper ahead of the ceremony?
Sinners?
Hmm.
Just because it's been a while.
Yeah.
I
hadn't thought of that. It's a good idea.
And I can finally see the end credits. But I think there's just like been a lot more. I think we could talk about like the history and all the references, and we know a lot more about like production choices, the score, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
That was April.
It was
So,
April.
Yeah.
It was April. It was a long time ago. Yeah, actually, even just hanging out with Jack and Van yesterday after we were recording,
Mhm.
like we were just talking about all the movies this
Mhm.
past 12 months, and some of his feelings about Sinners. And it was like a long time ago, and we had a conversation with him on the show. We talked with Chris on the show about it, but it was a lot of like the excitement
Yeah.
when we first saw it, and then the weird, why is everyone pocket watching this movie?
Right.
And then it kind of faded away. And the movie has a lot of detractors too. That's the thing, is it's
Well,
critically
sure.
acclaimed. There's obviously like a racist level of detractors, but even
Yeah.
if you remove that, I think there are a lot of people who are like, this is kind of a mishmash of like 3 or 4 other movies, and they don't like it as much for those reasons. I love movies like that.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
Pulp
what
Fiction
is cool
kid.
about
Yeah,
it.
it's like that's an amazing synthesis of styles. But I think kind of, you're right, digging through some of those details would be a lot of fun on an episode. Okay, you want to predict some Golden Globes?
Yeah, I told you before we started recording that I did my homework, but I haven't made any decision. There are a few categories where I haven't made the decisions.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it live, which you didn't flare your nostrils when I told you. So,
No, I think that's fine. We can talk it out.
Yeah.
Was one of them the Cinematic and Box Office Achievement
it
Award?
was.
Okay. I have a pretty clean answer for this one.
Okay. Go
Which is, I
ahead.
believe it will be Avatar, Fire and Ash.
You do.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think that this movie is once again extremely powerful, and more powerful in both arenas than people expected. That it is still great filmmaking spectacle, and also is, pushing towards $1.5 billion. So I could be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but it now appears to be on the outside of the Oscar race. And because of that, this is a way to honor what is a movie that is like killing in theaters right now.
It's a good argument. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
I believe that the Barbie Oppenheimer year, this is the award that went to Barbie.
It is.
So my instinct has thus been is this
Sinners.
this goes to Sinners.
Yeah. That's a
And
good sound
and
case.
listen, and I want to be clear, I'm not advocating for what I'm about to say, but if they give Sinners box office and cinematic achievement, then it opens up drama to do one of the international features. And there
Oh.
are so many.
Wow. The discourse will be super obnoxious if
Of
that
course
happens.
it will. But don't forget, they like quote unquote redid things, but it's the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
And I think you got to look. We were both very surprised by the number of international features that made both categories,
Yeah.
that made screenplay, that made, a lot of categories.
Mhm.
So I am curious whether they do Sinners here and then do something else. So I'm just going to say Sinners here, and then I'll make my best drama decision
I think that's
later.
great. It's great that we're different on that, and I think that's insightful. Would be an interesting outcome. It could
let's
also
be-
win both.
Let's be very clear that I think this is an insulting category.
Mhm.
And
Sorry,
that's-
your movie wasn't good enough for us to
Yes.
nominate you in a best drama category.
and that Sinners deserves best drama. It's ironic that like Frankenstein, because it was a Netflix film, is not eligible for this, because this is the most Frankenstein shit of all time.
It's a great point. There's this whole raft of a certain kind of movie that should be eligible
Yeah.
here. And wasn't Taylor Swift the Eras Tour nominated last year in this category? Like there's is that a movie even? It's a concert film, I suppose, but this is all, I think there's a strong case in this category for F1.
I thought you might go there.
F1 is definitely, and F1 to me feels like a more fitting victor, because it's an original film. It played huge internationally. It's Apple's first really big win. And it's a way to kind of keep them involved in the Golden Globes game in a way too, because they're not going to really have any other wins going down the line here.
Are we going to do like some infographic of this where I pick Sinners and whatever, and people yell at me and call me racist? Because I don't want to do that.
It's all up to you.
Okay, great. Because I don't believe that that's what should happen.
I will personally draw the infographic. I will draw your portrait. I will write all the correct answers that are the most racist seeming for you.
I do not agree with what I am predicting.
Yeah, I know. This is the problem with this. So, I mean, the other thing is K-pop Demon Hunters was a Netflix movie, is clearly a huge achievement. It's one of the most streamed movies of the year. When they deigned to put it in theaters, it made a shitload of money, but it's not really a wide release movie. So it's a really interesting category. And then we're not even talking about Zootopia 2, which is going to make $2 billion.
Yeah.
It's fucking
That's right.
Crazy. Movies are back. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
They're fucking back.
I know. It's very exciting.
It's so good. You know what else was a big hit? Actually, in the same vein as Sinners, and if Sinners was not here, Weapons would be a good case for this too. This is a dumb category that does create some interesting discussion. How about that?
I think this category is stupidly responding to a wish and a desire that we and many other people have, which is to see like good big budget entertainment represented at awards shows.
That's right.
And if you like, it can be done very poorly.
Yes.
It can be done very well. But when you do it very well and you pull it off, it is like an art of a kind. And it's a different type of art than One Battle After Another or Sinners. And Sinners is like, does it all. And that is like a very special achievement. But I think we think that achievement is just like the best of achievement rather than some asterisk category.
Where is a Minecraft movie in this category? Where is it?
Yeah.
Why is it not here? Is Wicked for Good so dramatically better than a Minecraft movie? I'm not so sure. I'm not sure you could convince me of that.
Yeah.
And did it inspire the same fervor?
I don't know.
That a Minecraft movie
You live
did?
in a Wicked for Good house.
Sure do.
Or do you listen to the Wicked songs or Wicked for Good songs more right now?
You know what we're really enjoying? And honestly, I'm enjoying this as well, is the one night only performance of Wicked.
Oh, sure.
With
Recorded
Ariana Grande
at the
and
Dolby
Cynthia
Theater.
Erivo at the Dolby Theater. And then I think they perform one song from Wicked for Good. And some bangers on that.
Have you ever been to the Dolby Theater?
Certainly.
You have?
Yeah.
I went for the first time this year because the Los Angeles Ballet performs the Nutcracker at the Dolby Theater. Took my son. We could use a spruce up. Do you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I was
Shots
like, wow,
fired.
they have the Oscars there. And I was like, we could use some upgraded chairs. I feel for these people a
the
little.
Dorothy Chandler Pavilion was no great shakes
Yeah,
either.
it's true.
It's an award show. It's not a luxury home.
I was just kind of like, everyone must be pretty uncomfortable.
That's actually one of the things that we didn't talk about with YouTube getting the Academy Awards is that the possibility of the show being even longer. But I think many pundits out there, I heard Katie Rich say this on Prestige Junkie, that she was like, it is actually like an award show where you have to be seated. So like, they're not going to make the show 7 hours.
Right.
Like they're not going to make, incredibly famous people sit for that long, which was a really smart observation. That being said, make it 7 hours. Just do it. I'd like to watch it. Best Original Song from a Motion Picture. The nominees in this category are Dream Is One from Avatar Fire and Ash, sung by your girl Miley Cyrus. Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. I Lied to You from Sinners. No Place Like Home from Wicked for Good. The Girl in the Bubble from Wicked for Good. And Train Dreams.
Yes. Which you performed on the soundtrack.
Yes. Performed by Nick Cave.
Golden.
Golden.
Which is great. Deserving.
Yeah.
I'm still outraged that K-pop Demon Hunters will not get multiple nominations in this category because Golden was the only song shortlisted.
That's right.
And generally, I think that this category is an abomination of songs played over credits by pop stars who need a check. And all the K-pop Demon Hunter songs are A, catchy, and B, woven into the film itself.
Yes, I agree. That is the strongest case for it, is that they are essential to the telling of the story.
Yeah, but no one consulted me.
Best motion picture animated. Now, historically, you tend to rely on some friends of the show
Right.
for your advisement.
I didn't text Griffin and David on this one, though. Hi, Griffin and David. I love you.
David was amused by your concern over Narnia. He let me know, just so you know.
David, you have my phone number. I have seen 3 of the 6 films on this list already. Look at me.
Wow. So you've seen Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle. Impressive. The nominees here are Arco, Demon Slayer, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amelie or the Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. I'd like to take a moment to speak to you about Little Amelie
or the Character of Rain.
Yeah, I watched this film. I watched it with my daughter. The film is in French.
Great.
She watched the whole movie.
That's adorable.
Doesn't read.
Yeah.
Doesn't read subtitles.
She's getting there.
Is it French or Belgian? I can't remember. I think it's about a Belgian family that moves to Japan, and this 2-year-old girl, like 2.5-year-old girl, a young toddler, kind of experiencing the world, making this connection with her nanny in Japan, and it is beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful movie.
That's wonderful.
And I hope more people get a chance to see it. It was actually quite fascinating to sit with Alice and watch something and not talk and it not be in English and her to be completely mesmerized by it.
What did she ask you afterwards, or like what?
Nothing.
Okay.
She didn't feel the need to have it explained to her. I think she understood it well enough by observing it. It's really a beautifully made movie, a hand-drawn animation. And I liked it. It has a 0% chance of winning in this category, and it will be the least seen film in this category by a wide margin. Arco probably next in line there, which is a cool movie that Neon released. The others are really the big hitters, and I have to assume this is K-pop Demon Hunters.
I do as well.
But there's a case for Zootopia 2.
Sure.
Big hit. People love it.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer would be really bold. Me personally, I would have gone Chainsaw Man.
Okay.
But maybe an acknowledgement of the anime craze and what it means to theatrical movie going right now around the world would be kind of a cool stroke. I haven't seen Demon Slayer, by the way.
Nor have I. WMAG released its best performances of the year issue, and they do the accompanying videos with Lynn Hirschberg. And Michael B. Jordan's answer to the last movie that made him cry was first of all Armageddon, which makes him cry every time.
Wow.
Which is same Michael B. Jordan, and then I don't remember the name of the anime movie, but he explains it, and he was like, it was the 5th season, and then I guess it was a show. Okay. It was very beautiful, and it made me moved, even though.
Wow, we got to find out what that was.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of these movies? It wasn't Chainsaw Man?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Chainsaw Man's so confusing because it is a sequel to a season of television.
Okay. We've seen that before. Yeah,
so.
It's called Downton Abbey.
Great point. Although there were like 4 seasons of Downton Abbey.
By the way, can I just say to you, salute to you for Downton Abbey, the finale or whatever in your top 50.
Movie was great.
It was great.
I had a ball. We had a ball.
We did, but I just real ones, no. And I tip my hat to you.
Thank you for acknowledging it. And we love what we love.
Sure. Also, wherever you put Hamnet was really funny. It's sandwiched in between 2 things. I was like, that's my guy.
I don't even remember being so
you're
surgical.
Crazy, but it was good stuff.
I have strongly held beliefs. Best original score. Interesting category here.
Yeah.
Because there's a big surprise in this one. The nominees were Alexander Desplat for Frankenstein, Ludwig Göransson for Sinners, Johnny Greenwood for One Battle After Another, Kang Ding Ray for Seurat, Max Richter for Hamnet, and Hans Zimmer for F1. I don't think Hans Zimmer or Kang Ding Ray are getting in at the Academy Awards. I could be wrong about that.
I don't know. Seurat was big on the short lists, which surprised us both. And I think that is a bit of a reflection of the people who vote both on the short lists and who watch all the international features are more disciplined than your average voter. But, it has awareness. And then it was on, I want to say, IndieWire's survey of the director's favorite movies of the year. There was a lot of Seurat and there was a lot of New Belle Vague.
Yeah. Seurat episode coming. We got to figure out when we're going to do that. There's a couple of scores from this year that I feel like are a little overlooked.
Okay.
I kind of made fun of Jerskin Fendrix's score from Poor Things a couple of years ago. But I thought what he did with Begonia was amazing. And I listened to it quite frequently. I really like it. I've been listening to a lot of scores lately.
Yeah. just being like, and now let me cue up the begonia score is another incredible insight into your life. What time of day are you putting on the begonia score?
Any old time.
Okay.
At dawn, at dusk, as I go to bed.
I read your, top 100 movies of the year, like in my kitchen during breakfast while my children screamed, like we're banging measuring cups, and the Marty Supreme score was playing.
Many people are saying that my list making is the soma of life, and that we can get through the hard times by looking at lists that I have created. Nahlas and Nefro's score for The Smashing Machine is unbelievable. Is an amazing work of composition, and that movie has gotten kicked a lot in the last few months. I know a lot of people don't like it. I like it. I now think it's like underrated relative to the Marty Supreme craze, and I think one of the ingenious aspects of it is this score. I would love to see something like that around here.
The score over the fighting sequences, and it's the way it's married to the way that those
fights
are shot.
Cut, yes.
Yeah, and cut. It is beautiful.
Totally. I love that so much. I mean, obviously, we've been talking about Daniel Lopatton's score for Marty Supreme, which is not nominated here. I would love to see it nominated at the Academy Awards. I'm trying to think what are some other ones that I've really clicked on. Can you just vamp for a second while I open up my playlist that I've built? Thank you.
So would you like me to make my prediction here or just talk to... I mean, I think it will be Ludwig Göransson for Sinners, but it could go Johnny Greenwood. I don't think it will, actually.
He hasn't won.
Yeah, but I don't really think that the Golden Globes care about that. Yeah. And you could see Alexander Desplat for Frankenstein. Because I don't agree with, but
I really didn't like that score.
I didn't like it either. But it's not. This is not what we would do. It is what we think the Golden Globes would do, and I think they're going to be looking for some Frankenstein opportunities.
Alexander Desplat and Ludwig Göransson are both 2-time winners.
That's
crazy. He won for Grand Budapest and Shape of Water, and Ludwig won for Black Panther and for Oppenheimer. So, overlooking Johnny Greenwood again, even though this isn't my favorite Johnny Greenwood score, I personally much prefer at times There Will Be Blood and The Master and Phantom Thread. I think all three of those are superior to this, but it's the most different and the most varied in terms of the different instruments that he applies, the different tones and moods that he's using. So I don't know.
I am thinking more about the entire ballot and where people, and I do think that one battle is going to have enough representation in other places that people are going to be like, I don't know, you could make the case that Surratt is so surprising that there's just like enthusiasm for it, and then they'll suddenly be on stage at the Golden Globes. I don't think that that's going to happen.
I don't want to besmirch that score too much, but it is like starter kit club music. It's rave music. It's it's well applied in the film. But is there anything like audacious or creative or overwhelming about it? I mean, to me, that's that would be a prize for the filmmaking choice, not for the actual composition of the score. But you know what? It's maybe everything all at once. A couple of other scores I want to shout out. Christopher Bear, your guy from Grizzly Bear, did the score for Roofman. Yeah. Really good. David Holmes, as always, crushed it on Black Bag, working with Steven Soderbergh. Jung Jae-il on Mickey 17, working again with Bong Joon-ho. The Holiday Brothers on Weapons, a longtime friends of Zach Cregger's. I loved their work. I did like Bryce Dessner's work. I'm not a national fan, but I did think his work on Train Dreams was really nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
Volker Bertelmann in House of Dynamite, a movie that I'm really mixed on, but I think his score is quite good.
Yeah, very good.
Daniel Pemberton for Materialists.
Yes.
A lot of really good scores this year, so I just wanted to shout some of them out. Okay. Next category.
You'll have another opportunity. We have 2.5 more months of...
You're right.
Who did you pick? You need to make your pick.
I'm going to pick Johnny Greenwood just to mix it up. Because I think you're right that Ludwig is going to win, but to me, we need to kind of see if the Johnny Greenwood thing can happen here. Okay, Best Motion Picture, Non-English Language. It was just an accident, no other choice, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Surratt, the voice of Hinder Rajab.
Yeah. I'm going with Secret Agent here.
I wrote it was just an accident.
So here's the thing.
What is the thing?
Secret Agent has one other nomination on this page.
Smart.
And it was just an accident is everywhere else. Now, that suggests, I think I did have it was just an accident. I think instinctively I wrote that and then deleted it and put Secret Agent because there aren't that many other places where they can reward Secret Agent.
It was just an accident has 4 nominations total.
So but I think that there's such enthusiasm for the Secret Agent
Okay, I'll go with that.
They're going to pick the opportunity here and they can maybe like parcel it out to it was just an accident somewhere else.
Sounds really smart.
I don't know. It could also, the other way to read it is it was just an accident, has 4 other nominations. So they really love it. So they're giving it to, it was just an accident. So
funny,
maybe I'm being stupid.
Because the Golden Globes is such a smaller body relative to the Academy Awards or even some of the big guild votes, they can dole out awards to a variety of different films. So the way that you're thinking about it is, it makes a lot of sense. And they can be more strategic in terms of getting more people up on stage and more films spread around. Whereas at the Oscars in the last 4 or 5 years, it's been a little bit more of like one film wins 4, 5, 6 Oscars, and you get this consensus building for films around that time. So I think that makes sense. That being said, it was just an accident is a huge statement.
I agree. I mean, I think it is going to show up. Yeah. Like I argued both sides of it.
Okay. I'm going, this is good that we're splitting.
And mine also like gives a lot more credit to the voters than perhaps they've evidenced that they deserve.
I suspect that this thinking will come up again in this next category, which is Best Performance by a Female in a Supporting Role. Nominees are Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, Inga Ibsdottir-Lilius for Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan for Weapons, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another.
We forgot Ariana Grande in our supporting actress discussion. I do think that will happen.
You do think it will happen, but you don't think Cynthia Erivo will happen.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
You were putting that into... I said that we would see how much she wants to work it, but I do think that Ariana Grande, the reviews for Ariana Grande were like the big, she's so great. And everyone thinks Cynthia Erivo is great, but they were very mad about her sex cardigan or whatever. So
I don't know if mad was the word, but
they had opinions.
Yeah, there's someone missing from this list right now. If we're assuming that Emily Blunt is not in and perhaps Elle Fanning is not in as well.
Right.
I don't know who that is. Wunmi Masaku?
That would be wonderful.
Who am I forgetting? I can't remember.
Wunmi Masaku would be great.
I picked Tiana Taylor.
Okay.
Considering the way that you are analyzing this, you might be right that it's going to be either Amy Madigan or Inga Ibsdottir-Lilius.
I have Inga Ibsdottir-Lilius.
Because this is the way to acknowledge Sentimental Value?
Yes, because I think that she is a real breakout star. And also because they are no longer the Hollywood Foreign Correspondents Association. But
so Hollywood Foreign Press.
For Hollywood Foreign Press Association, that's right. And then the other made up one is the Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah. That's the White House.
Yeah, I know. Well, and
I'm hosting that this year, by the way. Did I tell you? I'm super excited. I've got a lot of great stuff lined up. A lot of good ideas.
Can you imagine? Yeah. That is maybe like the only thing where I would just be like, we're done. That's like, I think literally.
Me and you?
Yeah, literally anything else in the world you could go do. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And if you were like, what I need to do is I need to host the Correspondence Dinner.
I've been talking to Hegseth for months. It's going to be great.
We are on different paths. And that is, I wish you well.
Okay. We got to get our Avengers Doomsday episode in first, though. We can't stop until I've hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which I don't think happens anymore. And also,
I'm not keeping up.
9-hour pod on Doomsday.
Okay.
So you're going Inga Ibsdottir-Lilius. What happened to Sentimental Value? What happened?
Well, it's coming back a little bit.
Is it?
I don't know. You loved it. Paul Thomas Anderson
loved it. This movie's going to win Best Picture in July.
Friend, I know. I have the text message. My friend Lauren loved it. You know, so that's 3 people. I know.
Wow, it's quite a quorum. I
admire two of the 3 people's taste.
Yeah, I really thought it was going to be stronger, and I think part of it is that Secret Agent and It Was Just an Accident have been so strong, and so there being this many international films is a relatively new phenomenon, and so the groups tend to kind of lean towards one or the other. Maybe a little bit is that it's somewhat similar to The Worst Person in the World, and maybe doesn't feel different enough with Renata Rensve and the story of young women going in crisis and family trauma and. I don't know. But I really, as I've said 9 times now in the last 3 months, like I really think that film is quite good. And particularly it's a case where I try to not get like cranky about other critics taking movies down these days. I did that a lot in the past on this show. That's the one movie where I read reviews of that movie and I'm like, this is such axe grinding. Like this is such like, I can't understand it.
It's funny. There's axe grinding in the movie.
There is,
which is interesting. And I think that is one of the reasons that it's 3 different movies and also 1 movie. And there's still moments in it. I mean, the house opening is so transcendent.
Beautiful filmmaking and writing.
And the the shot of the house towards the end. Again, I'm a superficial person who was most affected by all the stuff about the house.
But that's part of the reason why it's such a great movie. I thought you were gonna love it. I was blown away that you were not that into it.
I really tried twice, but I like all the performances. Again, me and Scandinavians, it's a dialogue.
It is. It sure is.
I don't know.
That's right. You guys are figuring things out. so much in common and yet so different.
So I don't know. I'm trying.
Got it.
I'm monitoring that situation.
If you had told me in August that the one way in which sentimental value could be honored at the Globes would be Inge Ibsdottir Lilius, I'd be like, what the fuck?
But don't you think a little bit, maybe the award season issue is that like the being has become, or the robot has become sentient, and like now all the things that we kind of talk about and get, game out or suggest, like, do actually happen? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what you were saying before.
Like I guess it's come online.
Yeah, Pinocchio is a real boy. Yeah, no, 100%. I think you're right. Best performance by a male actor in a supporting role.
Yeah.
The nominees are Benicio del Toro, Jacob Elordi, Paul Mescal, Sean Penn, Adam Sandler, and Stellan Skarsgård.
Right. Now, there's a world in which you could do Stellan Skarsgård here for sentimental value. Is that what you're doing?
No, I chose Benicio.
As did I. I chose Benicio del Toro.
But that logic doesn't really track, because this is a way to honor Frankenstein. This is a way to honor Jay Kelly. This is a way to honor other movies that aren't going to get a look.
It could be any of those things, but we have seen like the quote unquote new Golden Globes is just sort of copycat. And I think Benicio is, one, just like such an incredible performance. Just straight up loved it. And two, so pervasive, like at every single awards ceremony from, up till now, that they'll just be like, it's Benicio.
He's another one that's so interesting because obviously we adore what he did in the movie, and PTA and Leo have gone out of their way to talk about the ways in which he kind of brought kind of invention and creativity to that character into the structure of the movie. So I hope this doesn't seem like I'm taking away any of his achievements, but it reminds me a little bit of the Renee Zellweger, Judy Garland win, where I'm like, she has one. Like, why the rush to? I like this performance in this movie a lot more than I like Judy. So I don't want to conflate the two, but
Ocean Waves.
It gives me a similar feeling of like Benicio did win in this category a long time ago, and he's obviously like beloved. Everybody thinks he's just like one of the great actors of our lifetime. And he's totally worthy of two. I'm just kind of like talking through an idea here, but it is interesting that someone like Stellan Skarsgård, who has also got this huge body of work,
right,
who's obviously very good in that film, and you can make the case that he's the lead of that movie, is like not really even contending, it seems like, anymore. Or maybe that's one of those like tricks of the race right now that we're not seeing. Maybe he's stronger than we realize.
He could be up there on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
I guess I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be like, what?
Okay. You don't hold against the kind of like thought process I was just going through there with Benicio, right? Like I don't want to like.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I do. I think that we have been trained watching these for so long to think in the parlance and the ideology of the awards, which is like, now we got to give someone out for this one, and it's their time, and it's all that stuff. And giving Benicio this Oscar would be, let's just give an Oscar to the best supporting performance, like, which I think is good.
I agree.
Let's give an Oscar to the good thing, but we're not used to that. That's not how we've been brought up.
You're right. That's well put, and that is really jarring to me that we're in this new time. Best screenplay motion picture. The nominees are Paul Thomas Anderson, Ronald Bronstein, and Josh Safdie, Ryan Coogler, Jafar Panahi, Eskil Vogt, and Joachim Trier, Chloe Zhao, Maggie O'Farrell.
So I have 4 different movies written here with double question marks.
So there are 5 nominees. No, 6 nominees.
So I don't think it's going to go to Ronald Bronstein and Josh Safdie, though I absolutely love that movie. Josh was lovely on the podcast, by the way. I finally got to listen to it.
The man.
And
my dude.
I don't think that it's going to Chloe Zhao and Maggie O'Farrell for Hamnet.
Nor do I.
Which is a screenplay I think less of. The other 4 you could argue for all of them.
It's plausible.
Last year, Conclave won in this category. And the year before that, Anatomy of a Fall won in this category. So, and we really only have
pretty good screenplays, honestly.
2 great screenplays and 2 films that were nominated for Best Picture,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
One did go on to a screenplay Oscar. One did
Anatomy
not.
of a Fall.
Yeah, and did Conclave win as
Conclave
well?
did as well.
Yeah, okay,
for
so they
adapted.
both went on.
Peter Strawn.
So I guess in that case,
Well, those are good shouts then.
yeah.
So what do we think is winning here? To me, I think Sinners is winning.
Yeah, I do as well.
And I think Sinners in one battle are winning at the Academy Awards. And so if I feel that way, at least right now,
Right.
you got to make a choice between those two.
And I think they're probably going to go Sinners here and PTA bigger.
I agree.
Okay, so I go with
I chose
Sinners
Kugler.
as well.
So you're
Okay.
choosing Kugler
Yeah.
as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Best performance by a female actor in a drama.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting category, and I like it. I like the nominees here. This is the best thing the Golden Globes has done this year.
Yeah.
The nominees are Jessie Buckley
Mm-hmm.
for Hamnet, Jennifer Lawrence for Die My Love, Renata Rensby for Sentimental Value, Julia Roberts for After the Hunt, Tessa Thompson for Hedda, and Ava Victor for Sorry Baby. Now, this is what I want award shows to be, which is like absolutely Jessie Buckley, Renata Rensby, no doubt.
Yeah.
We've been talking about them for months. They are among the best performances of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Two really exciting young actors kind of rising. Jennifer Lawrence, big star. Julia Roberts, big
Also-
star from a different generation.
Also fantastic performances.
No doubt. I think they're both worthy. Tessa Thompson, someone who's like kind of in that honorable mention category
Mhm.
throughout this race. So I like this movie getting a little bit of
Yeah.
shine, and she's a really good actor. And Ava Victor, this was probably the biggest surprise of the Golden Globe nominations. It's interesting that it's happening in a category where I'm like, there's no competition here.
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of the point.
Right. So you can get a little creative.
Yeah.
And you also you have a few extra spots because some of the surefire nominees are over in comedy musical.
Exactly. So maybe my question is, should there actually be drama and comedy and musical delineations at the Academy Awards?
We need more categories.
Yep.
And we need more like above the line categories too.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just like quote unquote recognizable to the layperson.
Yes. Creative people, some who are in front of the camera, some who are behind.
We should show all of the awards, but we just
I didn't
need-
realize the Critics' Choice was like giving awards out during the commercials. What the
I
hell
didn't
is
know
that?
I don't know.
All right. Jessie Buckley, I
Mhm.
assume.
Yes,
We're
Jessie
united
Buckley.
on that.
Yeah.
Best performance by a male actor in a drama.
Mm-hmm.
Another very interesting category. The nominees are Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams, Oscar Isaac for Frankenstein, Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent, and Jeremy Allen White in Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere, which of course was Paul Schrader's favorite film of 2025.
What is it? The basis of philosophy? What's the movie called?
The Basics of Philosophy,
Great.
which is
Okay.
the new name of this podcast.
I'm going Wagner Moura here.
I went Michael B. Jordan.
It could happen and it would be great.
I don't know.
I mean,
What
Fernando
if it's
Torres is
Dwayne
right
Johnson?
there. What if it's Oscar Isaac?
I hope that doesn't happen. That's a
I love
performance I do
Oscar
not.
Isaac.
I do
absolutely
as
love
well.
him.
That's
Yeah.
not a performance I enjoyed.
Mhm.
The interesting race.
We'll see.
You're really on the Wagner Moura train. You
Yeah.
really think this is like very powerful.
I think it's happening.
You could be right. You could
Once, like as we have said many times,
Mhm.
Brazil, right?
Yeah.
And
But
then
like there are some Brazilian voters in the Golden Globes, but it's not like 10,000 Brazilians vote on the Globes.
if Fernando Torres won last year,
Mhm.
I don't know. You just gotta
Well,
know where you are.
watch this space.
I guess so.
Actually, watch this space at 4:30 p.m.
Oh, we were supposed to do that.
PT,
Yeah.
7:30 p.m. ET on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go live right before the Golden Globes. Chit chat.
Hold on, I'm looking up our Instagram handle. At the Big Pick Pod. Chris Ryan is so good at this. He has everything memorized. He does it right at the beginning. The email address,
But
the
Chris
Instagram
is also
handle.
in the fucking email. Like he's looking
I
at
know.
emails from listeners.
Yeah, I did that once, and it was a wonderful experience.
Guys.
And then I saw a lot of like unsolicited opinions
Yeah.
and essays, and it's like I don't have time for that.
Couldn't be me. But we will be going live on Instagram.
Yes.
And you go live every morning, right? 6 a.m.
I have thought about it. Yassi
Wake up with
Salek.
Amanda.
Yassi Salek goes live from time to time,
I've
and
seen it happen.
I've thought about joining in from time to time.
Like in a FaceTime situation or like going to her
No,
house?
there is a feature where if you are
can
friends with the
collaborate.
person,
Okay.
you can join the live.
Real jump
And-
scare. there.
Maybe we should have Yassi on the Golden Globes live.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I remember
would as
she
well.
desperately
I
wanted to
mean,
participate when I was dressed as the Papal
Here's
Conclave.
the thing. I don't know if she's going to be in our time zone in any way, shape, or form. Yassi, if you are listening, come home.
Where
I
is
miss
she?
you. She's in London still.
Okay,
That's
okay.
fine.
Great.
And I think she's having a great time. and it snowed.
The streets want Yasi back on the pod.
Yasi,
We gotta
I
figure
need you.
What movie is Yasi going to come and talk about on the pod?
Well, she's not going to be back in time for Testament of Anne Lee, which we saw together.
Oh.
We went to the beach and then we saw Testament of Anne Lee. It was a beautiful evening.
Yeah. Talk about ecstatic devotion to hanging out and not doing your job. Best performance by wait, you picked Wagner Moura, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Best performance by a female actor, musical or comedy. Nominees are Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked for Good, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another, Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee, and Emma Stone for Begonia. Emma Stone, bit of an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
Two-time Academy Award winner.
That's true.
Biggest star in Hollywood.
And maybe she's starting, she wasn't campaigning. You know, she hasn't really been out on the trail.
She wasn't at the Critics' Choice Awards.
That's right. But I think she's also in the W Magazine performances issue. And she clarified that neither she nor Jennifer Lawrence will be playing Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy will be playing Miss Piggy. So, and
does that mean Frank Oz will be playing Miss Piggy?
She didn't say that.
Okay.
But
Frank Oz is on in years. A legend. One of my favorite people. But
and you can call another of your favorite people Emma Stone and ask her about this. I'm reading
Emma Stone and Frank Oz talking. I would give me I'd go into cardiac arrest. That is a pod I would listen to. Two goats.
We're learning a lot about you today.
I'm a normal man. I love the Muppets.
Yeah.
I love redheads.
Muppet Christmas Carol didn't really take. Yeah.
It's an L for Knox.
It's okay. He loves Star Wars and whispering Avatar Fire and Ash to me. Just he learned the title. He's very scared of Avatar Fire and Ash.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's never seen it.
Just like all the other films that are being released around Christmas time. Terrified of its box office power.
I picked Rose Byrne.
I wrote Emma Stone.
Okay. I mean, sure.
She's super famous.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like there's a lot of discipline in this category here.
You could see Kate Hudson because she sings.
Absolutely possible. Beloved member of the Hollywood community.
Yeah.
Probably campaigns quite well with the Globes organization.
Do you know about Kate Hudson's New Year's Eve party?
No.
In Aspen?
Were you there?
No, I wasn't because enough with Aspen. You can't.
Enough with Aspen?
Yeah.
I've not been.
There's so much celebrity content. So the two locuses of celebrity content over the holidays. Oh, I'm sorry. Like you look at the Knicks, and this is what I look at. Okay,
but you're like,
excuse me, it's relevant. It's germane.
But I've been to a Knicks game.
Yeah,
like you've not been to Aspen, and you're like enough with Aspen.
But listen, Kate Hudson was in Aspen. Leo was in St. Bart's. None of the Knicks are nominated here today. So what I'm talking about,
the Knicks are in a fucking tailspin.
Is
losers of 4 in a row.
What
they
happened?
look terrible. I don't know. The defense is falling apart.
Okay. Kate Hudson hosts a New Year's Eve party in Aspen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of drumming and there's a bonfire and all sorts of stuff.
A lot of drumming.
Yes, that's what she explained. And a bonfire. So would you be interested in that? You like mountains.
I do like the mountains quite a bit. I would love to go to Aspen. I'm nothing against Aspen. Not really a bonfire guy. I'm not 18.
Yeah.
And that's something cool that you do when you light some shit on fire and run around and drink Natty Light.
The logistics of it, where are you supposed to sit? You know, because you're too close and then your face is just on fire, or you're too far away, you're freezing cold, you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Hard
to believe you didn't get invited to this party. Given all your bonfire ethics. Okay, so Emma Stone is my pick, and Rose Byrne is your pick, and it'll probably be Kate Hudson who wins. Best performance by a male actor, musical or comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Nominees are Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, George Clooney for Jay Kelly, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Lee Byung-hun for No Other Choice, Jesse Plemons for Begonia, a name we have not been uttering very much these days. Who do you think is winning?
I wrote down Chalamet.
I wrote down Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay, well, we'll find out.
I've chosen 3 acting winners from One Battle.
Stay in the country until Sunday.
He's not listening to the show.
You know, I learned his Houston's order over the break. That's another thing I learned.
What?
It was posted on Demois. Can you guess his Houston's order?
Okay, well then it's verified if it's posted on Demois. What the fuck?
They're at South Beverly Grill.
Uh-huh.
It's honestly the most psychotic thing I've ever heard. They ordered the artichokes, like a seasonal Houston specialty. Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Soretti.
Okay. And the administrators of Demois all sitting together?
No, the tipster. They ordered the artichokes and took them to go, did not touch them.
This is not authorized content. Like, we are owned by a global corporation. You can't just be like, this happened. What you meant to say was you read on the internet that a tipster may have erroneously shared what could or could not be the South
All right.
Beverly Grill order.
All right, Mr. Suddenly your legal ethics. Come on.
No, it's
Anyway,
a man's order at a restaurant is sacred.
Artichokes to go is like on the level of you being like, I turn on the Begonia soundtrack, whatever. Like, why are you taking a hot artichoke to go?
I kind of want to just put it on right now and just vibe out for the next 10 minutes before we make the final two picks. I have no idea what's going to win. Emma Stone and Leo is like a really weird picks for me, but I just feel like I'm just trying to make it interesting.
I went normie on these. You went interesting. You went normie on other ones. It's fine.
What if Jesse Plemons gets up there and he's
I
won?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Then we get a reaction shot to Kiki.
You know who would get knocked out of the Oscar race?
Who?
Probably Ethan Hawke.
That would be sad.
So, I don't know. Interesting race. Best director.
Okay.
Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Guillermo del Toro, Jafar Panahi, Joachim Trier, and Chloe Zhao.
I think I have Paul Thomas Anderson here.
I do too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's undeniable. I mean, it could be Panahi. You never know. Like, Guillermo del Toro could be up there. It could be Coogler. I don't think that it'll be Trier, but maybe you could see it. I
think Trier and Zhao are not in. I agree the other four are all in play.
But I'm going with Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay. How do you think he's going to feel about having to give 19 speeches in the next 3 months? It doesn't seem like something he truly loves.
I hope that he'll spend some time, with people who give him confidence, and I don't know, then go write some really weird ass movies about his feelings.
Can I tell you what I would do if I was him?
Yeah.
I would bring a combination TV and VCR up to the stage, and I would pop in the VCR, the VHS copy of Boogie Nights, and it would be queued up to the scene where Dirk Diggler accepts the Adult Film Star Awards. Okay. And I would just play that, and then I would walk off stage.
Okay.
And I would do that at every award show.
Okay. So is it like on one of those little roller carts that we had in elementary school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they roll it out. But it's got to be VHS.
Is it a combo TV VCR?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
It's all one. It's all one machine.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably get like, one of those like straps that they put on at Target for diapers and stuff and just like carry it that way.
Well,
you don't even need a cart.
You need a more heavy duty one than that, right?
Well,
this
sure.
is a heavy device.
It wouldn't be tape, but you could get.
He should just wear a backpack. Just put it in a backpack. Get on stage, unzip his backpack, pull out the TV VCR.
That'd be good. That would not be at all weird.
I do miss. You know what I miss? I'm feeling loose. I just miss the 90s.
And yet you won't let me talk about artichokes.
You've got plenty of time on artichokes. In the 90s, when the Beastie Boys were like, we're sending up some guy in a, Teutonic yodeling outfit to accept our award.
Yeah.
That was fucking great.
I mean, I too miss the Beastie Boys. It is one of the major reasons that I loved Marty Supreme so much.
But just in general, just that sense of it's not being so stuffed shirt about everything, fucking around a little bit. It's why I liked that Timmy speech last year. He was just like, fuck it, I'm Steve Jobs. That was very funny.
Right.
Okay. Best motion picture drama.
Okay.
Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, and Sinners.
I guess I'm going to do what I said I was going to do and do It Was Just an Accident.
Bold.
It is bold, but it's nominated in Best Motion Picture Drama, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and International Feature, right?
Mm-hmm,
like it's everywhere it needs to be. So, and if they do Sinners, and I think you're going to pick Sinners, and I think that's right, and that's what I would vote for.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but what if I'm right?
It's one way to go through life. Okay. I picked Sinners. I think it'll be Sinners.
Okay.
I think this will confirm that the race will be Sinners versus One Battle.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting because they're from the same studio. And we can talk about musical or comedy right now, so then we can kind of cap with that quick discussion. So for musical or comedy, Blue Moon, Begonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, Nouvelle Vague, One Battle After Another.
Yeah.
One Battle.
Correct.
Would be very surprising if One Battle After Another did not win here. If it doesn't win, all bets are off because of the point that you're making where it's just like, this is on TV.
Yeah.
People are going to see this. And if it doesn't win, it will be the first surprising thing, truly surprising thing that has happened in this stretch run. I don't think it's likely. I don't think
that's likely.
I don't even really know what would win. It feels like it's head and shoulders above all the other contenders. I guess Marty Supreme is closest.
Yeah.
Maybe the freaks out there push for Begonia. We didn't have Begonia on our last top 10.
Yeah, the amount of begonia on this list was, I think, a surprise to all of us. And there was almost no begonia on any of the short lists.
Very true.
So
it's very true. It's an interesting one. I know there was a lot of Surratt, so we put Surratt on there.
Yeah.
Surratt getting Best Picture would be nuts, but you never know.
You don't.
You never know. One Battle versus Sinners versus Hamnet, still the top three. Is Hamnet compete? Hamnet is not a critics movie, but it is an industry movie.
Yeah.
Is Hamnet going to have a bigger night than we realize?
Well, where would it win? It would. I think it will win in Best Actress. I don't think it's going to win Adapted Screenplay over PTA.
I don't think so either, but who knows?
I mean, if it does, then uh-oh. Do you think, what else would it win? I think
Drama?
Oh, you mean on, I was just gaming out the Oscars.
Paul Mescal?
Maybe. Listen.
I'm just counterfactual.
The world is full of possibilities.
Okay.
We've explored some of them in our predictions.
Just trying to keep my energy up.
What I have written down here at the bottom of all of this is no Frankenstein and 12 question marks. So it just seems weird to me that
the no Frankenstein wins.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really do a ton of below the line stuff here at the Golden Globes, and that's really where it's going to dominate in production design and costume design and hair and makeup, maybe in visual effects. Like those are the places where it's really going to show up.
Yeah.
It's there for score. And it could win, as you said. Desplat could win.
Right. But it's just, it was nominated in supporting actor, best actor, drama, director, and best picture drama. So I don't know. And it just feels like a Globes.
You're right. It'll probably sweep.
Okay. I'm saying, it feels like a Golden Globes thing. I don't know.
It's a good point. No Other Choice has 3 Golden Globe nominations.
Which is very cool.
It's also going more wide this Friday. I don't know how wide it's going.
Okay.
It had a very limited release on Christmas. I hope it's going into a lot of theaters. It's a little hard to say because it's a very entertaining movie. This is
really
not a
funny.
stuffy awards movie. And in fact, one of the reasons why I think it's maybe not going to do as well at the award shows is because it's, black humor.
Yeah.
It's very violent and elaborate. Let's talk a little bit about it. So it's directed by Park Chan-wook. He's got 3 co-writers on the film, Lee Kyung-mi, Don McKellar, who he's been working with quite a bit in the last few years, and Lee Ja-hae. It's based on the novel The Axe by Donald Westlake. There actually has been another adaptation of this novel that Costa Gavras made about 25 years ago. I've never seen it. I'm fascinated to see it. It was hard to track down. I tried to track it down last night. The stars of this movie are Lee Byung-hun, Son Ye-jin, Park Hee-sun, Lee Sung-min. Abruptly laid off after 25 years at the same company, a desperate man goes to extreme lengths to eliminate the competition for the job that he wants. Now, I know you first saw this movie
I did.
At the Venice Film Festival, and you revisited it last night. What'd you think?
I mean, this is just an excellent, everything about it is so well done that you're just kind of like, I can't believe how good this is, and that it's sustained so well over 2.5 hours of what is it is comedy. It is very, very hard to hit this tone this consistently. Not to mention all of the production design and the shots, the beautiful shots, everything that is done so beautifully within it. But there is a very specific understanding of the attitude that this movie has about the world and the character in it that is consistent in a way that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a tic-tac-toe movie for me. I loved it. I've talked about it a couple times already on the show because it is both of those things. And over the years, if you read interviews with Park, and if you read reviews of his work, Hitchcock comes up over and over again.
Yeah.
And I think even when we talked about The Handmaiden on 25 for 25, we were like, if they would have let Hitchcock get his kink out in the world, this is kind of what he would have done. And this movie is another continuation of that. And Lee Byung-hun is in a Jimmy Stewart part in this movie. And this really fine-grained combination of scary and violent and extremely strongly framed social commentary up against really funny attitude is the word you used.
Yeah.
And I like that word a lot. It's kind of everyone's a fucking idiot. We're all kind of screwed. These are terrible systems that we've created for ourselves, and we're all kind of trapped. There's these vagaries that get us through the day. And we've tricked ourselves into thinking like, oh, if I have the perfect nuclear family and if I have the perfect house, I'll be really happy.
Yeah.
But it can all be taken away from us so quickly. And then what do we do when that thing is taken away from us? But kind of constantly played where like the lead of the film is simultaneously sympathetic and a buffoon. And that's also really hard to do.
Right.
And we talked about this a little bit with Bob Ferguson, a little bit with Marty Mauser, the lead character being like, is this guy good or bad? Or how much do I like spending time with him?
Is the film rooting for him? And am I supposed to be rooting for him? And this is like a very interesting twist on that. I don't think that this film is rooting for anyone.
No.
And sort of rooting like for all of us in the sense that, oh, we live, in this nightmare that we've created.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this movie maybe a day after I saw Begonia at the Venice Film Festival, and I thought that they were a very interesting doubleheader, because they were both about men of slightly different ages, and certainly like different sociological settings, but men who have been cast out of the world and like the social system by like basically, like the global corporation, and are realizing that are realizing that they've lost their sense of place and are kind of losing it in the way that they respond to it. Now, who's right and who's wrong and what's real and what's not, and who's the hero and who's the villain kind of gets turned on their heads in different ways. And one of them is a kind of like a gotcha thriller. And this is No Other Choice is sort of a thriller, but it is more like a man on a mission. And then ultimately, like what the mission is, the last shot of No Other Choice is as depressing in its own way as the coda of Begonia is in its way as well. And it's sort of like you got these men were like validated almost, and then like you get what you wish for.
Yeah, right but alone, right but defeated, like, and it was sort of like we're all defeated. It's a really good comparison, and I do think there's something very Spartan about Begonia. Like it's a very stripped down movie, and No Other Choice is the opposite. No Other Choice is so ornate and elaborate, and like honestly a little bit confusing at times. And it was very helpful to see it a second time, just to kind of understand the mechanics of the quote unquote kills. So we'll spoil the movie a little bit because I spoiled it a little bit with part 2 when we talked. But after he's laid off, he tries to get another job. They have this big, we see him in this family life early in the film, and he's very happy. He's barbecuing, celebrating with his family.
He got some eel from the company.
Eel, yes. He's been able to touch like upper middle class lifestyle, right? That's sort of what the movie is showing. It's like once you reach this status, and what happens when it gets taken away from you, and what does it mean, and how do you account for the loss? And so,
and what was that status in the first place?
Right, it's ultimately fairly meager.
Yeah,
but at the time, you think you're on top of the world, and this is a very common thing that is in the movies this year, all throughout. It's like it's in One Battle, it's in Mark Kerr in The Smashing Machine. It's in a lot of these men who are like, I've reached a certain level of achievement in my professional life and in my personal life, and now I'm like king of the world. I'm like master of my domain. And then one guy checks one spreadsheet on one laptop at the company you work at, and you're out.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out where to go. The satire is very broad in the movie, but the construction of the story is so elaborate that I think it kind of overwhelms the simplicity of like corporation bad, like we know.
Right.
So he figures out after working this basically physical labor job in a giant department store that he's got to find his way back into the world of paper. He worked in a paper company.
Right, which is also, a perfect metaphor that starts from the very, very first scene.
Yes, it's like something from the earth that is made tactile by human hands, but that is also going out of fashion in the way that we experience the world in this world of screens. That's all in the Westlake book. It's in the Costa Gavras movie as well. Like it's a paper company that he works for. And he realizes that there's only so many jobs because of all this consolidation. His company that laid him off was acquired by an American company. This globalization is affecting everybody. This is a movie that originally Park wanted to make in America, but he couldn't really get it going. And so he had to make it in his native Korea. And he decides he needs to start eliminating potential contenders for the very few open positions in the job, which is such a funny idea. But he's a regular middle-class guy. He's not. He has a greenhouse and he has some utility with his hands, but like he doesn't really know what he's doing. And so he goes through these series of kills, kind of like bumbling his way through every single murder. But he is successful. Like he does kind of pull it off. And so to your point about like, is this guy good? Is he bad? Is he successful? Is he not successful? It's like he does kind of do what needs to be done in this movie. And he does ultimately what he believes needs to be done. What he believes
or what he set up for himself. And there is in almost every kill scene, there is like a moment where he's like, wait, what am I actually doing? And is this really, really going to happen?
Right.
And the mania kind of catches on, and he becomes more convinced of his own plan as it goes on. But I hadn't realized until my rewatch, there's the still that's being used in the movie, which is of
the pot.
Yeah, the pot being held up is actually, he chickens out.
Yes.
And that is not actually the first kill. That is sort of where the idea or part of the idea comes from. But he's holding up a plant that he then uses like to start a fake company to trap everyone. So it's the beginning of the illusion as much as it is of this I'm gonna like kill people.
Yeah, and it's a perfect little
situation.
thing too, right? It's like the whole movie is all about a person who cares for trees and living things. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of time spent with him caring for a bonsai tree and showing the kind of nature in which you have to kind of like bend and contort the bonsai to take care of it and to allow it to grow, which is obviously a very latent metaphor for the way that we have to kind of like bend ourselves around the system so that we can survive inside of the system. And then the idea of a tree, paper is made from trees, being used as this inspiration point for this plan where he like sets up a job at a paper company with a catalog all from paper and trees to bring in these three men who are effectively like middle managers like he was at paper companies and are out of work. Or at least two of them are out of work.
Right.
And he needs to get rid of these guys so that a job can open up so that he can fill in that spot. These other men are more qualified than he is too, which is a nice testimony like to the ends that this world drives us to, where it's like I'm in desperate competition with this other loser guy who lives one town over.
Right, yeah.
Because that's just the nature of, an aggressive capitalist system. So you've got like all of that stuff, which is very fun and rich and often very funny. And you've also got this family drama about a guy who's like lost his sense of masculinity because he's lost his job and he feels like his wife, who's beautiful, and she has to go to work to backfill for the lack of income in the home. And then she's working for a hot dentist as a dental hygienist and a dental assistant.
Right.
And he's worried about that she's cheating on him. And then that is also dovetailing with one of the potential murder victims who's also being cucked at this time.
Yeah.
And this is an elaborate movie with a lot of twists and like
he's got
ideas.
A huge toothache throughout that he won't get, fixed, which is I know is symbolic in Freudian psychology or whatever, but is also relates to the actual dentist. And then when it is finally quote unquote fixed, is somewhat climactic.
He's got
to
do it himself.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's the only way through is to just push through. So there's all kinds of fun stuff, and I probably will watch this movie again because it revealed a lot on my second watch. And then the other thing is, while I'm watching it, it's hard to not be overwhelmed by the technique.
Yeah.
That he's using camera angles and camera placement and transitions and wipes, and he's using a lot of superimpositions where he's like mapping one image onto another image. So you can see like the duality, the mask that people are wearing, the secret truth hiding beneath them, like all these very traditional.
You can see like what's around the corner or what's around like and that gives you juxtaposition of like this house that is an amazing house and, so idyllic, but just like seems to be when you look at it from another direction is like just like off a random highway and there's like an office park nearby and all sorts of,
But this is the house that he grew up in. So he has also idealized it.
Exactly.
Even though it's like, it's a middle-class house off a highway, you know, like so many of us, like I grew up in, like so many people grew up in, but you tend to think that these are these like totems of accomplishment. I think that a lot of those visual choices that he makes throughout the movie are really smart. He talked a lot about the selection of the house and why and how they built it. And, it's a really interesting and unusual style. Again, like I thought I was asking a good question and he was like, I have a 30-minute answer to your question about a house. He's really put a tremendous amount of thought.
The house plays a huge role and is also like designed in a way, not just to allow for like the certain setup of the shots and where the kids are standing on the stairs as you hear something in the the kitchen or the et cetera, but also like where the tree is outside the window, and the tree obviously has a lot of, is that a real red pine? I'm going to be a white pine. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm going to be heartbroken if it's not.
I don't know.
And how the tree is also set. But then there are some shots where I'm just like, I can't believe you got the clouds to look like that.
It's true. There is CGI in the movie, and I think he uses CGI very artfully as a filmmaker. There was a lot of CGI in Decision to Leave as well, and another movie that I think is really rewarding on a rewatch, much like Decision to Leave. Also a great movie about screens. One of the things that's really funny is when he meets, I think is it Seung Chol, the manager at the paper company, and then he leaves and he realizes that he's also this kind of rival manager is also an influencer, and he's constantly looking at his social media. Yeah. And the movie really effectively renders that sense of like jealousy, aspiration, the kind of like ugliness of performing for social media, but also that like this is getting this guy somewhere and I don't know how to do this.
Right.
All unspoken. None of it is really communicated. We just watch him watching another guy. Just a good idea.
Even the way that he's watching it in that particular scene, he's lying on the couch and holding the phone like directly above his head, which is not
just like Bob Ferguson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
But it is, and it allows like a lot of different setups. It's cinematically interesting, which, most people would just have their phone up to their face.
He does have that when he's in the bar.
Yeah.
When he's in the bar and he's kind of discovering him talking about like paper and trees and things like that. The other thing I really liked, it was a really funny Netflix joke in the movie where they're talking about like what they have to cut out of their budget. And in the background, you can hear the ta-dum hit when the kids are firing it up. And there's like, the movie is very much about what happens when you go from upper middle class to lower middle class and the panic that sets in, which is this is something that has been happening in America for the last 25 years. We've kind of hollowed out a whole class of people who felt like they were in very stabilized, industrialized spaces. And whether those jobs have been moved overseas or have been moved into, AI-assisted robotics, which is really what this film is ultimately focused on, that this is a very relatable movie. It's an absurd, arch Hitchcockian thriller, but its core idea is very up with people. And yet it also has a real Coen Brothers, like everybody's a moron energy.
Right.
Tasty stew.
We didn't mention ballroom dancing.
Oh God.
Which also sets up a whole, there is a lot of the young daughter is a cellist, and that's like the emotional, like very sad part about it. Yes. She's a very gifted cellist.
Neurodivergent, it seems.
Yes. She only speaks in, repeating other people's words, and they have to give the dogs away, which like, I'm not a dog person, but that's really sad. Yeah.
Brutal.
So there's a cello plot line. There is a whole thing about stolen phones, speaking of screens.
That's right.
And then just, some really Baroque and gross deaths, or what we do with bodies after death.
There's one kill in particular where he folds up a cadaver.
It's so
that is fucking crazy. That is great. That is just great imagery, and obviously is a callback to the bonsai bending and you're meant to see, and the recognition of his son through the greenhouse in the same way that he saw him through the greenhouse early in the film. A lot of echoes throughout the movie, a lot of repeating and recurring images. Lee Byung-hun, I want to talk about him quickly. Really interesting actor. Is probably best known for these kind of like intense Korean thrillers. Really charismatic and a handsome guy. He's older than I thought he was. He's 55. He's been around for a while. The last time he worked with Park was in Park's first film, Joint Security Area. So this is a reunion for them. And he has been in a bunch of American movies, and he's always been used in this really like po-faced, like exoticized, like Asian assassin kind of way. He was Storm Shadow in the G.I. Joe movies. He was in the Magnificent Seven remake, which is a big CR movie. But in this movie, he really plays this like physical comedy. Like it's almost like a Jim Carrey part.
Yes, he's twisting his face a lot.
Yeah, a lot of contortion.
It's malleable, yeah.
Yeah. I really, really like him. And then I mentioned earlier in the episode Sun Yi-jin, who plays his wife, who is dynamite in this movie, where like she's secretly the one running the family. She probably could have saved his job if he had like included her more in like the execution of his career. One of the funnier scenes in the movie is when he's like early on preparing his "I'm getting axed" speech to his new American boss, and he's just like being cheered on by four other guys who are about to get fired. I'm in front of the logs. And very quickly, the American, when he gets 1 second with him, is like, there was no other choice. And he gets in a car and leaves. but she is simultaneously the most decent, but the craftiest. And when the moment arrives where she needs to like use her wiles to get the family to safety, without her that he would not be safe, despite all this insane shit that he does. The kills.
I mean, my favorite is, I guess, the first. Just
because he doesn't really do it.
He doesn't really do it, but really just because of the music absolutely blaring.
So I did not know this. Park said that's one of the most popular songs in Korean music history.
I had no idea.
I think it's like playing My Heart Will Go On or something.
Oh, that's even funnier.
Yeah.
But I didn't. It's Italian. Is it? No, it's not.
I thought it was a Korean song.
Is it a Korean? I mean,
Jack, I don't know if you can help fact check that one for us.
I think I saw it in Italy, so I was like, "Oh, are you doing?" And I think the Italian subtitles came on to explain what it was saying, and I was like, "Oh, is this an Italian?"
Gotcha.
Anyway, I got it.
I think it's a Korean.
I think it's a
Korean
pop
pop
song. That would make
song.
more sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was great. I mean, also seems like a banger to me. I understand why it's My Heart Will Go On in
maybe
Korea.
Not the most perfect comp I've ever made.
Okay, whatever.
Maybe it's dude looks like a lady, for in South Korea. I'm not actually sure. I like that one the best too, although I do think that entire stretch where he goes to Seonchol's house and they drink and the tooth.
Yeah.
And then the very gross scheme to make it seem as though he's choked on his own vomit is just like, it's pretty out there, man. Like, you got to remember, this is the guy who made Oldboy, and I think he's become like world cinema master and making, celebrated U.S. streaming services, films or television shows. But he's a freak.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big time freak.
Yeah. And
he's into some really kinky, weird shit. And he is really good at rendering it on screen.
Just confirming that song is Korean.
Thank you. Okay. The ending.
Yeah. I mean.
So he gets away with it. For a variety of reasons. But one of the reasons is that the first victim's wife, who is cucking him, kind of sort of takes the fall in some ways. Her husband takes the fall for a series of events, and he gets the job. He gets a job, and when he gets to the job, he realizes he no longer really has any colleagues, that he's just managing an AI-operated station.
Right.
And his trusty wooden stick that allows him to check the virility of the paper.
Yeah, I guess.
Is no longer necessary because there are tools that do that. And then is the final shot that you're referring to in the forest with the lumber and the
first him celebrating alone in the robot warehouse, and he's the only person there, and it's a wide shot, and he's like almost dancing.
Yes.
And then it cuts to the robot cutting down trees while you get the credits.
Yeah, I asked Park about that too, and I was just like, "Did you shoot that? Like, where did that come from?" And he's like, "That's stock footage." So like, he ended his film on stock footage, but it's the most chilling footage you've ever seen in your life.
It's so messed up.
It's like a giant machine that is controlled by robots cutting down trees in the natural world, and that's just that's where we're at.
Yeah,
that's
it's bad.
That's not good.
It's bad news.
I
learned a lot more about logging this year than I thought that I would.
Yeah, Train Dreams.
Yeah.
No Other Choice. What else?
I mean, those two, but that's two more movies about logging than I thought I would experience and engage with.
Did you end up seeing the Ken Kesey Sometimes a Great Notion movie that Paul Newman directed?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think
that's
it was
also about logging.
Okay. But I don't think that was
upsetting.
on my watch list last year.
Okay.
In fact, I think you tried to be like, ooh, Train Dreams again, logging. And I don't know if Train Dreams is really about logging.
And what happened in your top 5 of movies of the year?
That's right. But I'm just saying, I don't know if I would have led with the logging.
Okay. Any other thoughts on Park?
I mean, dynamite movie. Really good.
Really good. Let's go to my conversation with Park Chan-wook. Director Park Chan-wook and his interpreter Jiwon Lee, very happy to have you both here to talk about this film. I wanted to start by hearing what led you to reading Donald Westlake's The Axe? What led you to that book in the first place?
제가 포인트 블랭크는 리 마빈 나온 영화에 진짜 열렬한 팬이거든요. 그런데 이제 그 영화의 원작 소설을 쓴, 물론 이제 필명으로 쓰긴 했는데요. 그 소설을 쓴 작가의 다른 작품이 번역이 되었다라는 얘기를 듣고 빨리 구해서 봤죠.
I'm a diehard fan of the film Point Blank starring Lee Marvin. And as soon as I heard that this writer who wrote the original novel for the film, although for Point Blank he used a different pen name, as soon as I heard that he had other works that he had written, I immediately looked for that novel.
I know the film started out as a potential American adaptation and shifted to South Korea. So what specifically needed to change by shifting it to a different country?
뭐 본질적으로 바뀐 건 없는 것 같아요. 일단 그 무도회가 미국 역사를 컨셉으로 한 것이다. 물론 그 원작에는 없고요. 이제 미국 영화로 만들기 위해서 각색을 했을 때 들어갔던 건데, 그래서 뭐 에이브람 링컨이라든가 이런 미국 역사의 주요 인물들로 꾸며서 입은 그런 사람들이 나오죠. 그런데 그 중에 한 명이 이제 포카혼타스였던 거고요. 그런 컨셉을 한국 영어로 할 때는 더 이상 유지할 수 없었기 때문에 그것을 포기하게 된 것은 좀 약간 아쉬운 점이 있습니다.
I don't think there were any fundamental changes, but there are more detailed differences between the two versions. So, for instance, the dance party scene was initially U.S. history themed. This was not something that was in the novel. We decided to include this in the adaptation process. So, there were people dressed up as U.S. historical figures like Abraham Lincoln, and Pocahontas, which was included in the film, was one of those characters initially. And we couldn't keep that same theme in the Korean version of the film, so we had to give that up, which I was very sad about.
그리고 그건 이제 빠진 부분이고 새로 들어온 부분은 분재라는 설정이죠. 만수의 식물 애호 취미라는 것의 연장선상에서 그냥 정원만 가꾸는 게 아니라 온실에 틀어박혀서 분재도 한다라는 것입니다.
That was something we had to take out as we changed this into a Korean film. As for things that we added, it was the element of bonsai. And this was the extension of Mansu's love and hobby for plants. So he's not just working in his garden, he's also stuck in his greenhouse working with his bonsai.
그것은 그 아이디어의 시작은 프로덕션 디자이너가 온실을 꾸미는 그런 소품으로 분재를 이용하면 어떻겠느냐라고 제안을 했던 건데요. 그것을 그거 좋다라고 동의하면서 이제 그냥 장식으로만 두는 것이 아니라 그걸 가지고 좀 더 영화적으로 이용하면 어떨까 하는 발전시키고 싶은 욕심이 생겼어요. 그래서 그걸 가지고 막 질투심에 사로잡혔을 때 힘을 줘가지고 나무를 부러뜨리는 장면도 만들고, 또 시체를 처리할 때 전기톱으로 잘라서 묻는 것이 아니라 분재 이용하는 철사로 묶어가지고 부피를 축소시켜서 묻는다든가 뭐 그런 것들. 특히 재밌었던 것은 악몽 장면, 아들인 시원이의 악몽 장면에서 잘 써먹을 수 있었죠.
The start of the idea was initially a suggestion from a production designer about using bonsai as a prop in the greenhouse. And I said I liked the idea, but thinking further upon it, I realized that we could use this more than just decor. We could use it cinematically. So I continued to develop this idea further, and it was featured in scenes where Mansu was overcome with jealousy. There's the moment when he breaks the branch of the bonsai, or for this moment when he's taking care of his victim's body. And instead of using a chainsaw to take care of the body, he uses a wire and ties up the body like a bonsai. And of course, the bonsai was also featured in the scene where Mansu's son, Jiwon, is having a nightmare. And he's also included in that little bonsai world as well.
그래서 점점 의미가 확장되면서 분재는 이제 만수가 자기 가족을 어떻게 생각하는지 가족에 대해서 그것을 드러낼 수 있는 그런 중요한 소품이 되었죠. 그래서 꿈 장면에서 보셨듯이 하나의 자기가 군림하는, 자기가 이렇게 디자인해서, 가꾸는 하나의 세계처럼, 자기 가정을 생각한다. 그것이, 정말 온갖 정성으로 그걸 돌볼 때에는 아름다운 모습이겠지만, 또 거기에 어두우면은, 조금은, 자기 마음대로 하려는, 그 분재 나뭇가지를 막 이렇게 구부러뜨리면서 하는 그런 인위적인, 그런, 인공적으로 가하는 힘을 가하는 것처럼 만수가 자기 가족을 그렇게 대하고 있는 것은 아닐까 하는 상상을 일으키게 하죠.
And as the meaning and significance of the bonsai expanded, the bonsai became an important tool to show how Mansu thinks of his family as well. Just like in that nightmare scene, Mansu considers his family as this world that he designed and tends, just like how he tends to his bonsai. And of course, there's a beauty in the way that he pours his heart into tending his family and the bonsai. But if you look at it from a darker side, there's that artificial force that he's using to bend the branch of the bonsai to a shape of his liking. That's also very similar to how he treats his family as well.
He talks in the film too about how he's built the home and built all of these particular aspects of the home, and that would make it difficult for him to leave the home. I'm curious, how did you find that house? Was it constructed? Did it already exist? And what were you looking for in it?
그 집을 찾는 일이 아주 험난한, 시간이 오래 걸리는 일이 되리라고 예상을 했기 때문에 프리프로덕션을 본격적으로 시작하기도 전에 이미 로케이션 스카우팅 팀, 그 집을 찾는 일만을 맡은 로케이션 스카우트 팀을 출발시켰고요. 그래서 남한의 전국을 돌아다니면서 저희가 원하는 집을 찾도록 했습니다.
I immediately knew that finding that house was going to be a very arduous process. So even before we started pre-production, there was a location scouting team designated to find the right house. And they immediately started touring the entirety of South Korea to look for the right house.
제가 어렸을 때, 그러니까 70년대 초에 한국에 많이 지어졌던 똑같은 도면으로 여기저기 지어졌던 당시 유행했던 건축 양식인데요.
And this structure of the house was something that was often seen back when I was younger in the early 70s. They used the same blueprint to build that same cookie cutter house all across the country.
당시 가난했던 한국이 경제 성장을 막 시작할 때 중산층의 어떤 동경하는 그런 양식이 부동산 개발업자들에 의해서 그렇게 촉발됐는데.
And this was initiated by the real estate industry. So because Korea was a poor country at the time, just as economic growth was just beginning to start, the real estate people tried to utilize the envy that people had towards this middle class lifestyle.
당시 한국인들이 어떤 유럽의 세련된 생활 양식을 흉내내고 싶어한 그런 욕망에 편승해서 그 개발업자들이 불란서 주택, 프랑스 주택이라는 전혀 어울리지 않는 이름을 붙여서 유행을 시켰습니다.
And this structure of a house became popular under this faux title, the French style house. And this was trying to utilize the Koreans' dream and envy to emulate the modern European lifestyle.
물론 보셨다시피 전혀 프랑스 스타일은 아니죠. 그렇지만 이제 그렇게 이름을 붙여서 팔았는데 그것이 당시에 세련된 눈을 가진 사람들, 특히 건축가들에게는 좀 악몽 같은 일이었습니다. 너무나 한심한 양식이었죠. 그리고 그것을 똑같이 지어서 팔았으니까 수없이 많은 집들을. 근데 지금 와서는 그건 다 없어졌고요. 일부 남아있는 것은 지금 와서는 오히려 좀 재미있는, 어디에서도 볼 수 없는 혼합 스타일의 흥미로운 건축이 되었습니다.
As you have seen from the movie, the structure of the house, the architecture style isn't French at all. It was really just a marketing trick to sell this type of houses. And of course, that design was a nightmare to architects with refined taste at the time. And it was all the more pathetic, especially because of the fact that they built that same design all across the country. So today, because that structure of the house is mostly gone, it's very hard to see that style of a house today. It actually feels more interesting to see a style like that, to see those fusion of different cultural architecture styles in one house.
네, 그래서 그 집을 잘 찾은 다음에 우리 미술팀과 내가 이제 디자인을 새로 해서 그 외벽에 이렇게 물결무늬 모양의 콘크리트 덩어리를 하나 더 붙여서 좀 뭔가 브루털리스트 양식의 이디엄을 갖다 붙여서 조금 더 국적불명의 혼종 스타일을 만들었죠.
So after we found the right house, the production designer and I continued to redesign the existing house. So something that we added was this wavy pattern concrete exterior to the house inspired by the brutalist style. So that made it even more confusing in terms of the cultural architectural style.
Mm-hmm.
The film features what feels like a scene from my life where a father is prone on his back watching an influencer video and a young daughter is watching television. When we talked for Decision to Leave, you talked about the use of cell phones. This film features AI as a component. A character in the film literally says a phone contains all of a person's life. You're consistently interested in showing the way that this technology invades our life. Why is that important to you?
예, 제가 영화를 만드는 데 있어서 스타일적으로 좀 고전적인 그런 방향을 고수하고 있다고 저는 스스로 생각하는데 그 나쁘게 말하면 구식이라는 얘기겠죠. 근데 그건 그거고 그것은 제가 어떤 스토리를 또 캐릭터들을 정확하게 묘사하기 위한 저 나름의 방법이고요. 그것과는 별개로 아무리 제가 구식의 스타일을 갖고 있다고 해도 현대인의 삶에서 특히 현대 한국인의 삶에서 이런 테크놀로지는 굉장히 밀접하게 우리 삶에 들어와 있죠. 그런 리얼리티를 외면하고 싶지 않다는 것입니다.
In my filmmaking style, I always strived for a more classical style, or to put it more crudely, an old-fashioned style. And I believe that is the method that best accurately portrays the story and the characters that I want to portray. So even though my style is old-fashioned, in portraying the lives of the modern person, especially a modern Korean person, technology is inevitably tied to all of their lives. And I didn't want to turn away from portraying that accurately.
You say you use an old-fashioned style, but the film feels very maximalist. And where you put the camera, the sound design, the color is very explosive, even for one of your films. I was thinking of the shot through the Boilermaker, the glasses. Why did the movie demand all these gestures?
제가 헤어질 결심을 만들고 나서 바로 이어진 작품이라서 물론 중간에 TV 시리즈 심파사이저가 있긴 했지만요. 영화로서는 바로 이어지는 것이라서 그것에 좀 그것과 다른 스타일을 좀 하고 싶었어요. 늘 제가 버릇처럼 그렇게 합니다. 바로 전 영화에서 했던 것과는 좀 많이 되도록이면 많이 다른 영화를 만들고 싶어 하죠. 그 결과 헤어질 결심이 좀 미니멀한 방향으로 가는 영화였다면 이 영화는 좀 이렇게 된 거죠.
This was my film right after my previous film, Decision to Leave. Of course, I also made the TV series The Sympathizer in between those projects. But in terms of just films, this was my next project after Decision to Leave. And I knew that I wanted to try a different style from my previous movie. That's actually a habit of mine, always trying to do something different from what I had just done. So because Decision to Leave had such a minimal style, that's why no other choice ended up looking that way.
그리고 그 컬러에 대해서 특정하게 말씀을 드리자면 저는 막연하게 필름의 룩을 재현하고 싶은 그런 욕심을 항상 갖고 있었는데요. 그것만 봐도 제가 얼마나 구식 사람인지 알 수 있겠죠. 구식 취향을 가진 사람인지. 필름 룩에 아주 집착을 하는데 그 필름 룩은 무엇일까? 막연하게 생각하고 있던 것을 그것이 뭐지? 나는 그냥 뭔가 그 요즘 디지털의 그 쨍한 느낌과는 다른 뭔가 약간 그레인이 많고 좀 또 그 결과 좀 뿌옇고 색깔 채도도 조금 약간 낮고 그런 것을 막연히 떠올렸었는데 이번에 일부러 아주 제대로 테스트를 한번 해봤어요. 똑같은 조명, 똑같은 피사체를 놓고 필름으로 찍어보고 디지털로 찍어보고 해서 비교를 해봤는데 필름이 훨씬 더 채도도 높고 컨트라스트도 높고 더 뭐랄까요? 더 강렬하더라고요. 그래서 이번 영화의 DI 과정에서 또 렌즈 선택에서도 항상 그런 방향으로 시도를 했습니다.
And since you mentioned color, to discuss color specifically, my goal for the film was to recreate the film look. And just from that statement, you know how old-fashioned my taste is. So I've always wondered and had an obsession with that film look. In contrast to that saturated feeling of the digital footage that we see today, I've always believed that film has more grain, it's more foggy, and it's less saturated. And to really test that out, we actually set up the same lighting and used the same subject and filmed it with film ones and on digital ones. And then what I actually learned was that film has higher saturation, higher contrast, and felt more intense in general. So in the DI process and in the lens selection, that was the direction that I was striving for.
그리고 말씀하신 그 맥주잔 네, 리깅한 카메라 그런 것도 마찬가지인데요. 그것이 좀 독특한 앵글을 보여주긴 합니다만은 저는 그것도 뭔가 신기한 뭐 어디서 못 본 듯한 그런 독특하기 위한 독특한 그런 앵글을 시도한 것은 아니에요. 당연히 아시겠지만 만수에게 있어서 이 폭탄주 한 잔이 어떤 의미인지 관객도 잘 알고 있기 때문에 그것이 그 만수의 입으로 목으로 넘어가는 그 한순간 한 모금 한 모금이 정말 숨막히게 긴장되게 만들고 싶었기 때문에 고심 끝에 그런 리깅을 만들었죠.
And as for that beer glass moment that you mentioned, it's a very unique camera setup since the camera is rigged right on top of the glass. But it wasn't an attempt to create this cool, never seen before, unique setup just for uniqueness sake. The audience knows the significance of the bomb shot, the significance of Mansu drinking in this moment. That's why I wanted each gulp, each moment to feel breathlessly nervous for the audience.
그런 것이 뭔가 뭐 현대적인 그런 카메라처럼 느껴질지는 모르겠는데 70년대 영화들을 보면은요 그것보다 훨씬 더 독창적이고 대담한 카메라 사용을 얼마든지 볼 수 있거든요. 요즘 관객한테는 70년대 영화라면 정말 무슨 선사시대 영화처럼 느껴지겠지만 그렇습니다.
And this setup might feel like a modern camera setup to audiences, perhaps, but you can actually find more creative and bold setups in 70s film. I'm guessing that 70s film might feel prehistoric to modern audiences, but you can explore them and see it for yourself.
The film becomes a series of one-on-one encounters with Mansu and his potential victims, and each time he confronts them, we see that he's not such a skilled assassin. I wanted to hear you talk a little bit about conceiving the oven mitt glove encounter with the blaring music because it's so striking and so funny. And I wanted to hear you explain how you came up with all of that.
처음에는 당연히 총성을 죽이는 소음기가 필요하다. 라고 만수가 생각했을 텐데 만수는 그런 프로페셔널 살인자도 아니고 그런 장비가 있을 리가 없고 권총은 뭐 아버지의 유품이기 때문에 그냥 어떻게 이용할 수 있지만 다른 것을 어떻게 얻을 수가 없으니까요. 그래서 나름대로 자기 주변을 둘러보다가 그냥 발견한 것이 아닐까. 그래서 만수는 나름대로 자기 그 조건 하에서는 생각을 많이 한 사람이다. 근데 관객이 볼 때는 정말 굉장히 어설프다. 그래서 오븐용 장갑 안에는 크리스마스 때 사용한 그 아이들 즐겁게 해주기 위해서 산타클로스 옷을 입었을 때 사용했던 그런 장갑도 들어있고 그리고 권총과 자기 손이 분리되지 않게 너무 긴장하고 무서워서 총을 놓칠까봐 또는 방아쇠를 제대로 못 당길까봐 땀에 젖어서 손이 그런 여러 가지 생각을 해서 막 그 비닐랩으로 꽁꽁 감싸가지고 총과 자기를 하나로 만드는 자기 손을 그런 처절한 노력까지 하는 사람이다라고 만들고 싶었어요. 그런데 보는 사람 입장에서 굉장히 웃기죠. 심지어 그 산타클로스 옷 입고 찍은 소품 가족 사진도 영화 어딘가에 잠깐이나마 구석에서 등장을 하긴 할 겁니다.
So the oven mitten moment came from Mansu's attempt to use it as a silencer to kill off the sound of the gunshot. And because he's not a professional assassin, he doesn't have the professional tools to do that. Of course, he got the gun from his father, but he doesn't have anything else. So I think that was the result of him looking around his house, seeing what he has, and discovering this idea. So even though it might look foolish or funny to the audience, we can tell that Mansu has actually put in a lot of thought under the circumstances that he's in. So he has the oven mitt, and below the oven mitt, he also has this glove from a Santa Claus costume that he probably bought to entertain his kids. And beneath that, his hand is wrapped up in a plastic wrap. And he did that because he was scared that when he's too terrified or nervous in the moment, his hands might get too sweaty. So he wanted to make sure that he's not going to let go of the gun and that he'll be able to properly pull the trigger. So that's how much of a desperate preparation went into this moment for Mansu. So even though Mansu is very desperate and well prepared for himself, it might come off as very funny to the audience when they're watching it from afar. And actually, if you watch the movie again, you might be able to find a family picture of Mansu dressed up as a Santa Claus.
As someone who's been making films for more than 30 years, how much do you relate to the men in this story who have turned their life over to a vocation that doesn't always love them back?
바로 그 점이 제가 원작 소설 읽을 때 저와는 참 완전히 다른 업종에 종사하는 사람인데도 불구하고 만수에게 주인공에게 감정이입을 할 수 있었던 이유입니다.
That is the very reason why I was able to empathize with the main character of the novel when I was reading it, despite the fact that he works in a completely different industry.
그리고 시조라는 그 인물 중에 그 빅팀 중에 한 명도 일종의 예술이라고 생각합니다. 종이 만드는 일을 그렇게 말을 하죠.
And Shijo, one of the victims in the film, actually says this line about how he considers making paper as a form of art.
이 직업을 그냥 돈벌이 수단으로 여기는데 그치는 게 아니고 그것이 나의 삶 자체다. 법모의입을 통해서도 그런 말을 하죠. 이것이 없으면 자기는 아무것도 아니다. 그런 직업적인 자부심을 넘어서서 그냥 그것 자체가 나다라고 생각하는 것이 많은 그 필름 메이커들의 사고방식이잖아요.
So this job isn't just to make a living. They consider this job as life itself. And Pammo also says this in a dialogue about how he's nothing without this job. So it's not just simple pride for what they do. They consider the job to equate to the sense of self itself. And I think a lot of filmmakers will be able to relate to this.
그래서 만수가 이 자기가 벌이는 이런 범죄 행위, 이런 도덕적인 전락이라고 하는 것에 대해서 가족을 위한 것이다라고 합리화하고 그러므로 어쩔 수가 없다라고 생각하는 것이 조금 위선이다. 그렇게 볼 수 있다라고 생각합니다.
So, how Mansu's criminal acts and his moral downfalls, he justifies all of this as acts for his family, that he has no other choice. And I could see how this would come off as ingenuine.
왜냐하면 그 사람은 가족을 먹여 살릴 수 있는 다른 수단이 주어진다고 해도 자기가 이 제지업에 종사하면서 얻고 싶은 그런 성취감을 그것을 잊을 수 없기 때문에 그것만을 위해서라도 살인을 할 수 있는 사람이라는 거죠.
And what I'm trying to say through that is Mansu is a man who would have murdered for this job even if he had other options or other jobs that were able to feed his family. The truth is perhaps he was really chasing for that sense of achievement that he felt from his paper-making job.
심지어는 그에게 처자식이 없었다고 해도 이런 일을 할 수도 있지 않았을까? 이 살인 행각을 그렇게 상상해 볼 수도 있죠.
You can even imagine if he had no wife and no kids, I could still see him as a man who would have done the exact same things.
The most chilling image to me is the final sequence with the automated logging machinery. The movie seems to have a strong point of view about AI, and I'm curious to hear your perspective on it, and not just in terms of it taking over per se, but whether it could be helpful or harmful in what specific ways in the future for filmmakers.
예. 일단은 제가 가진 즉각적인 감정은 두려움입니다.
My immediate emotional response to that would be fear.
구체적으로 AI가 우리 삶을 어떻게 지배할지에 대한 두려움도 있겠지만 그 발전 속도가 너무 빠르기 때문에 뭐가 어떻게 돌아가는지 어떻게 변화하는지 미처 파악도 하기 전에 변해져 있을까 봐.
And it's not just fear towards how AI is going to dominate our lives. The speed of its technological development is so fast that I think the fear stems from this thought of how it might change our lives even before we realize that it's changed it.
이 소설에서는 당연히 그 시대는 이런 개념이 없었기 때문에 AI 관련된 장면들은 다 이제 영화를 만들면서 제가 집어넣은 것들인데요.
And obviously, back when the novel was first written, there was no such concept back then. So any scenes involving AI was something that I added in the adaptation process.
영화를 위해서는 확실히 도움이 되었다고 생각합니다. 이 AI 테크놀로지의 발전이.
But I think for this film, it was certainly helpful to have that AI technology development.
왜냐하면 제가 원작에 없는 요소를 추가해서 아내와 아들이 만수가 무슨 일을 하는지 눈치채는 그런 설정을 만들었잖아요.
Because I added a new element that was different from the original novel, which was that the wife and the son find out about what the main character has been doing.
만수가 자기 가족을 위해서 이런 일을 한다고 했는데 그 일을 하는 과정이 그 일 자체가 가족을 위해서 한다고 한 이 일 자체가 만수의 영혼에 영향을 주었고 만수의 영혼이 파괴되었고 그것이 이 가족들에게도 알려지게 되어서 결국은 만수 자체가 가족들로부터 배제되는 그래서 이 가정이 붕괴되는 결과를 만들었잖아요.
Because Mansu says he's doing everything for his family, but it's precisely what he does for his family that affects his soul. It destroys his soul. And when that is known by his family, Mansu becomes an outcast of the family and the family is shattered.
그래서 이것 자체가 그냥 거대한 패러독스가 돼버렸어요. 가족을 위해서 했는데 그것 때문에 가족이 망가졌으니까.
So all of this becomes a large paradox. He did it for his family, but it's precisely those acts that destroyed it.
그런 것처럼 AI도 마찬가지입니다. 만수는 인간 경쟁자들을 하나씩 처리를 하는 일을 정말 큰 결심을 하고 어렵게 해서 결국은 정말 천신만고 끝에 그것을 해냈고 그래서 이 자리를 차지했는데 와 보니까 더 무서운 상대, 결코 이길 수 없는 상대가 거기 버티고 있는 거죠.
And it's just like that. It's very similar to Mansu's association with the AI technology as well. So the film portrays Mansu's journey of how he destroys his human competitors, and this was a very difficult process for him. It took a lot of big determination, and it was a very arduous journey that he had to survive through in order to make it through that journey and find the job that he's desperately wanted for himself. But at the end of that road, he realizes that there's a scarier competitor that he can never win.
그래서 자기가 의기양양하게 이 공장에 들어와서 새 공장에 새로 취업한 공장에 들어와서 불을 하나씩 켜죠. 공장 기계들이 알아서 돌아가는 이 공장 소등 시스템으로 깜깜한 공장에서 자기가 이제 내가 인간이 왔다. 이제부터 내가 컨트롤할 거다라고 하는 선언을 하듯이 불을 하나씩 켭니다.
And he confidently enters this factory. And in this dark factory where the machines are working on their own, he turns on the lights as if to make the statement that the humans will be controlling the factory now.
그러나 그렇게 막 혼자서 환호성을 올리고 그런 지 얼마 되지도 않아서 만수는 차츰 이상한 기분에 사로잡히게 되죠.
But shortly after his joyful cry, he is encapsulated by this strange feeling.
그 거대한 종이롤, 완성된 종이롤을 몽둥이로 하나씩 두들겨 보면서 그 밀도를 감각하는 샷을 보면 알 수 있습니다.
And you can tell that in the moment where he taps on that large paper roll with his stick to sense the density of the paper roll.
분명히 그 면접 장면에서 면접관 중에 한 명이 이제는 그렇게 하는 시대는 끝났다라고 말을 했고 만수는 거기에 대해서 격하게 공감을 했는데도 그 버릇을 예전 버릇을 고치지 못하고 아마도 그 스틱은 집에서 가져왔겠죠. 온실에 우리가 한번 소개한 적이 있는데 그 스틱을 집에서 굳이 가져와서 그걸로 똑같은 일을 하고 있는 겁니다.
Because if you remember in the previous interview scene, the interviewers actually told Mansu that that age of using this manual method is over. And at the time, Mansu emphatically agreed, but he still couldn't let go of that old habit. And that's why he brought that stick. He probably brought it from his home. There's actually a moment where we see the stick in the greenhouse as well. So he took in the effort to bring that from his home and to necessarily use it in a factory that doesn't need it anymore.
그런데 동시에 만수 더 머리 위에 더 높은 곳에서는 로봇이 그걸 똑같은 일을 하고 있죠.
And at the same time, we witness how this robot that's working above his head is doing the same job that he's doing.
그리고 만수가 그 종이롤을 운반하는 그런 또 운반 차량들하고 부딪힐까봐 일로 갔다 절로 갔다 이렇게 우왕좌왕하는 그런 모습도 굉장히 가련해 보이죠.
And Mansu also looks very pitiful as he tries to avoid these vehicles that are transporting the paper rolls.
그리고 결정적으로는 만수가 영화에서 퇴장하는 마지막 샷에서 저 멀리 뒤에서부터 불이 하나씩 꺼지는 것을 우리는 볼 수 있습니다.
And most importantly, in the very last shot of the film, we witness how the lights are beginning to go off one by one behind Mansu.
소위 그 소등 시스템이 또다시 가동되는 거죠.
It's the lights off system being activated.
말하자면 AI가 그 불을 끄는 행동을 통해서 만수에게 메시지를 전하는 것이죠. 너는 이제 필요 없다.
AI, through the act of turning off the lights, is sending a message to Mansu that we don't need you anymore.
그리고 이어지는 장면은 벌목 장면인데요. 그 장면은 사실 저희가 찍으러 갈 생각을 했다가 아주 좋은 스톡 후티지를 발견할 수 있었어요. 그래서 그걸 사용했는데 그때도 그냥 쓴 게 아니라 거기 그런 중장비들 나무를 베고 운반하는 그런 장비들의 운전석이 있고 운전자가 다 찍혀 있었는데 그걸 VFX로 다 지워서 그냥 스스로 움직이는 로봇처럼 만들었습니다.
And the very next scene is when we see the trees getting cut down. We almost considered shooting that ourselves, but we found very good stock footage, so we used that instead. But for the stock footage, there was originally a video of a seat in that heavy equipment and a driver driving that equipment. But we used VFX to erase any traces of humans, almost as if robots are moving on their own.
그 장면은 무엇을 떠오르게 하냐면은 영화의 전반부에서 만수가 스피치할 때 해고라는 것은 영어에서는 X라는 표현을 쓰지만 한국에서는 모가지라고 한다. 모가지를 도끼로 댕강 자르는 거나 다름없다. 결국 해고는 영어와 한국어 의미를 합쳐서 말하자면 그런 연설을 하잖아요. 그것을 시각화한 그런 이미지라고 할 수 있죠.
And what this scene is supposed to remind us of is a moment earlier in the film when Mansu is practicing the speech that he wants to tell the American executives. And then he talks about how in America, getting fired is like getting axed. But in Korea, we say off with your heads when we're getting fired. And then he combines those two phrases and says, getting fired is like using an axe to cut off somebody's head. And this moment is actually a visualization of that speech.
Director Park, we end every episode of this show by asking filmmakers what is the last great thing they have seen. Have you seen any films recently that you really responded to?
아직 끝까지 읽지는 못했는데 나보코프의 소설을 거의 다 읽어가요. Pale Fire라는 작품인데요. 너무나 화려하고 복잡하고 유머러스한 그런 정말 대단한 작품이라고 생각합니다.
I haven't finished it yet, but I'm currently reading Nabokov's novel called Pale Fire. It's very fanciful but complex and humorous. It's really a great piece of literary work.
Thank you very much. Congrats on the film.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Park Chan-wook. Thanks to our producer, Jack Sanders, for his work on this episode. Remember, 4:30 p.m. Sunday night PT, 7:30 ET. Mm-hmm. Amanda is going live on Instagram, maybe with Yasi, to talk about the Golden Globes. I'll be there.
At the Big Pick Pod.
Yes. And if you want to, what do people want to know? What kind of candy did I buy to eat on Sunday night?
We're going to eat actual food.
Yeah. Why did we go to New York? Maybe.
Right. Oh, that'll be exciting.
Anything else?
We could do some red carpet cues. It depends on whether are they doing the red carpet? I mean, like coverage? I assume they will be.
Sure. Are they? CBS News?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Barry
forgot
Weiss
that it's
be on the red carpet?
I don't want to deal with that. I forgot that it's on CBS. That's so weird. Because it was NBC for so long.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about Nikki Glaser, one of my goats.
She was very good last year.
She was funny last year. Yeah, I like her.
She'll be good again.
We'll also talk about the results of the show immediately after the show, and that episode will get posted, and you'll listen to it and you'll love it. I promise. See you then.